And then Alexander's wing is greetings, Earth person.
Yes. Hello, hello.
Hey, David, how are
Alexander's
you?
wing is up here.
Good.
Good. So, well, I've got the stream going, so let's not swear too loudly.
Oh
Oh,
heavens! I
okay.
didn't realize we were going live on
We're
this.
going
Well,
live.
I actually, um, I was watching one of Gary's videos. He's at Ardwolf's Lair,
Oh,
and
I've heard
so
the
he
name.
made
Yeah.
some sort of comment. He was talking about different Clash of Arms games, and he mentioned this one, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to be, doing this game on Vassal." And so he'd said, "Oh, are you live streaming it?" Yes, yes.
I
So
guess I am now.
I guess I am now. Yes. So there's a number of people that watch it. Oh, one voice is a lot more muted than the others. That's probably David's voice. I will make the adjustment. Thank you, Stigler. So Alan Dickerson is watching up in beautiful Portland or Seattle. I'm not sure where he is in the Pacific Northwest. We've got William watching from Ontario, Canada. Kitchener, Ontario, of course. Kitchener, even more military. There you go. Ask not
Very
what you can
much.
do. So,
Okay. All
so yeah, so we
right.
have a few people who are watching and
Okay.
people inquiring, want to know
What the heck are you
how
doing?
this works. Well, it's not entirely Napoleonic, but it's Napoleonic adjacent.
It's Napoleonic adjacent.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
if anybody gets upset, Eric, this is not a Napoleonic battle. I'll say it's Napoleon. If we didn't have the French squandering tons of money to help us defeat the British,
That's right.
there would not have been a French Revolution. There would not have been a
That's right.
Napoleon. So
We're just returning the favor. That's all.
exactly,
Yep.
it is the butterfly effect of wargaming here.
You
So
pay for our revolution and we'll pay for yours, sort
yeah,
of.
and then we didn't bother to come to their assistance. So go figure.
Well, it was a little bit asymmetrical in that regard.
Yeah, it was a little
They were a
messy.
lot
We
bigger
wouldn't
deal
know
than
want to
we
know what to
were.
do. Hey, so
Uh
so I'm curious, gentlemen, because as I mentioned to you before, I've observed you play a little bit, but I haven't played.
huh.
Um, so Stigler is the okay. Everyone's voice is sounding better. Thank you, Alan, for that note. Um, I've got a number of like troops that can go into skirmish mode from the looks of it. Does it
Yes.
make sense for them to be in skirmish mode? I would think crossing a creek, sending out skirmishers as opposed to trying to march across the stream in line or some other kind
Yeah,
of formation.
the the only thing you should bear in mind is that all the American Revolution games appear. I mean, at least Monmouth and this one both have a rule that basically says that at the beginning or the end or both, whatever it is, you have to be within two hexes of a formed unit in order to use your full movement as a skirmisher.
Okay.
I think it's a little design for effect thing they're doing there. You can only move two movement points if you're not within two hexes of a formed unit. So there's first of all, I agree with you. You might as well be in skirmish mode. Why the heck not, right?
Yeah.
But you're not really going to be getting very far in front of the formed units, or you're going to have to slow down and they'll catch up to you anyway. So, I mean, it's kind of like you decide.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I know that there's no cavalry. And so if
Right.
this were in a Napoleonic battle and there's no cavalry around, you bet I'm
You'd be
going
a
to be
little
in skirmish
cautious.
mode because I don't have to worry about getting, run
Getting
down by a
whacked
bunch
by,
of
yeah,
hussars or something.
right.
Um,
Absolutely.
okay. All right. Well, that
But yeah,
is
in this case, I don't see very much downside to it. I don't think I ever took my light infantry out of skirmish mode um, in our Monmouth
Yeah,
battle.
in Monmouth. No,
Yeah,
they were very effective in skirmish mode in the
yeah.
woods.
Well, let's be clear though. First of all, they were in the woods, which is clearly skirmish country, and the other one is we weren't using the optional rule we hadn't heard about yet, the double defense. So they were like armed with AK-47s.
So this was the idea that your the fire value was doubled, but the defense value
The terrain
was not
values didn't get
also matched.
doubled.
So
Right.
in the information that we downloaded from the most recent bar files, has
Uh-huh.
that been updated?
It is listed as an optional rule in the stuff we downloaded. Yeah, it
So
is. It is.
should we use it? I mean, I'm happy to use AK-47s against you with
Well,
Kniphausen's forces there.
except you have to recall that I have them too. That's the
Oh,
trick.
fiddle faddle.
It feels funny to me. And it won't feel funny to you because, of course, you haven't ever played games in this system. But
Right.
it feels very strange for gunfire to be so effective.
Right. Yeah.
And I've heard it suggested that Paul Borchers has complained that sometimes people don't even bother with gunfire and they just charge, which I mean that's a big roll of the dice, obviously charging somebody. So maybe not really a good idea, but I think wargamers tend to be like, oh to hell with it, why not? Um, but that wouldn't necessarily apply without that optional rule. You'd have every reason to just stand there and blast away with firepower instead of ever bothering to try to roust the other guys off the field. So I don't know. It feels wrong to me to be rolling 3-1, 4-1 odds all the time on the fire column. I just don't think that's appropriate. I'd like to use the optional rule, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Well, it's fine with
I
me.
think it would be more balanced with the optional rule.
Yeah. Yeah. That's perfectly fine.
Okay. Yeah, I think, oh, you know what? I've got some entrenchments I need to put out there. For some reason, only one of my units that was supposed to get an entrenchment marker got one. So I need to add some. Let's see. Everybody south of this Brenton's Ford Road, all the artillery is supposed to be entrenched. As I read it, that was one of the few things I saw that I thought the module was pretty good.
Right.
I think in general it looked a heck of a lot better than the Monmouth module did. But even at that, I did see just a couple of things that made me a little suspicious. There's entrenchments back here aren't going to do me a whole lot of good. I don't care. Whatever. Okay.
Well,
Only electrons die today. It's all good.
they won't do much good when my Spitfires come roaring across,
Oh
strafing
dear,
you.
not that again.
Yeah.
I hear
Not
that.
that
Those
again.
Spitfires.
That's
Yep.
terrible. Okay. All right. Well, gentlemen, I believe I am set up.
Okay.
Now
I
before,
have.
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, before we, I wanted to just discuss a couple things in the victory conditions.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Only a
What?
couple of things.
Yeah, well, first one is an error. There is an error on page 18, the
Okay.
Nottingham Road one.
Nottingham Road. Yeah.
Okay, it says NE 5834. It should be NW in the 5834 because there is no road from NE 5834.
Oh no,
to
I would think there
SE
wouldn't be
233.
because NE 53. Yeah, that would no. Okay, fair enough. That's understandable.
Right.
Okay.
Now, one, okay, it's subtract one if the British line of communications is interdicted. Now,
Yep.
Now, and it gives all these road segments.
Right.
And now in my head, the supply isn't interdicted if I don't have units advanced all the way down those roads. And if you follow that roads, it's all the way. The ones on the right hand side are all the way down to Painter's Crossroad, basically.
Okay.
And so it's saying, well, the supply is interdicted if you've got a unit near Painter's Crossroad or
oh,
crossing that road. Well, if
that
I haven't
surely
even
can't-
if I haven't even gotten anywhere near that yet,
well, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. That's okay.
so that was one thing. And then the other thing, do you know what the reasoning is behind this other victory point condition of 18 strength points next to NW5912?
Did you see my question? Because I commented on that on Concert World today.
Oh, I did not. No, I didn't.
Yeah. And because the trouble is when I read it that if at the end of any single turn during the course of the scenario you don't have 18 strength points in or adjacent to that, then you lose half of a victory point level for the whole game. Done. And I was like, what? It's like I have to keep 18 there the whole game? I'm thinking that doesn't seem very likely, especially because, by the way, you literally can't physically get there on the first turn. So I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
what? I was thinking, is it the wrong hex? Was it a typo? Maybe it was another hex. Then I get thinking about it some more. Thinking what he meant to say is that there has to be at least one turn at which you've had 18 unrouted infantry strength points within one hex of that. At any point at the end of the game, or by the end of the game, at the end of one turn, you had to have had guys there.
So do the British have to have guys there, or do the...
Yes.
Okay.
No, the British do.
The British do. And so
And-
this
and
is
by the
way-
this is the
I didn't
Northwest
interpret
map,
it as that
Northwest
way, but-
map 59 hex 5912.
Yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere. It has nothing. It's not even a strategic objective of the game. It would even be considered by anybody, which is what gets me.
Yeah, I don't know. And actually Matthew answered to
Okay,
validate.
yeah, I see it. Yeah, it is in
Yeah,
the middle of nowhere.
Yes, indeed. Yep, that was intended that on the end of at least one turn, you got to have troops there.
Yeah, but my question is, and
But you're
I
not.
did interpret it that way. What is he trying to?
That I do not know. I wondered that because I was thinking, well, okay, 18 unrouted strength points. That's not a huge number, but it's not nothing. I mean,
Well-
that actually means having to move a relatively substantial amount of troops over there. And I was trying to figure out, was that to keep Cornwallis's guys from just swinging east and making them stick a little closer to Brandywine Creek? So maybe they end up taking that spot?
Yeah, but there are some British units over here by Newell's Hill and Newell's
Yes.
Crossing that
Yes.
presumably you could move
They could
them
fulfill
over,
the
right?
role.
Wouldn't they?
Right.
I mean, that would make
Right.
sense. I think they're closer than. I mean,
They are.
Cornwallis would have to march an hour or
Right.
more just to get there.
Right. I don't know. I'm assuming that is just. Well, you're right. I mean, that's probably what I would do, is I would send those guys across over there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, maybe I should have asked what the motivation was behind it.
Well,
It
and
is
now
a
the
mystery.
second thing is there is another rule, and on page 17 in the left-hand column, any British unit which moves adjacent to that hex cannot move for the remainder of the scenario.
Holy smokes! How did I miss that one? Yeah. we have an Amber Alert for a child abduction just 280 miles from here. Let's see. Such a unit may move normally in a subsequent activation if an American unit moves within 8 hexes, and this rule affects victory conditions. Okay. So that's interesting, because it means if you move somebody there, they got to stay. But if you don't,
You
then
lose you lose
half of the victory level.
Well, is it half of a victory level or just half a victory point? It just says subtract 0.5 from the victory reward.
And
right, but
when I went through the calculations, that could be significant.
It's a ratio between American losses and British losses.
Huh.
So that could be a pretty substantial number of losses. I don't know. I had not seen that somebody had to get there.
Yeah,
and stay there.
I don't know how you'd even. I don't know enough about the movement to know even how to get there. The units only have a movement of 4 over here.
Well, no. Don't misunderstand. It's just get there at any time prior to the end of the game. Just as long as you get there at some point before the end of the game.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just
That was the clarification. That was the clarification that
Exactly.
you got, was that it just
Exactly.
has to be done at some point during the game. You
That's
cannot.
right.
Okay.
I didn't care for the wording, because the wording to me could be interpreted either way, and so he agreed that we should say at least one turn in order to validate that.
Yeah, because I did interpret it your way the first time I read it, and then I kept going. I was, wait a minute, no, that doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make any sense, right? So I wonder. I mean, what it effectively does, really, is it basically takes who's this, the first brigade, and kind of takes them out of play.
And we marked that square with a little X thing.
Oh, sure, I guess so.
Yeah, we've got plenty of X's.
Yeah.
No shortage of X's.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just so we're there. Just so we're aware. Okay, so if we
I'm
come
just
with
thinking
one
that
next to that, adjacent to that, we have to stop unless you've got
right. And you've got 7, 13, 26 infantry factors in the first brigade. I mean, what it kind of does is says, well, you want to use those guys in the battle, or do you want to use them to just occupy this space? And which is more valuable to you in terms of the victory points you can garner from it? Because I mean, there's not going to be enough left of that formation to be of any use by the time you deposit 18 strength points there.
Yeah. Well,
and unfortunately, that spot is so far away from anywhere that you kind of. It's not like you can try using them and then run back and put them there to try to save the points.
Yeah, well, and then you still have the issue where you've got to. You just can't march through that crossroad, because as soon as you hit it, right? Isn't that what you said? You have to freeze.
No, absolutely, yeah. You'd have to cross somewhere else, maybe at Brenton's Ford, to come across.
So, are they trying to simulate some kind of screen or stickiness or something that was actually in play that prevented people from crossing at that ford? Or
I doubt he just. No. I think
quite
the opposite.
Actually, if you look in scenario 2,
okay,
it does mention that same restriction, and let's see, where did I see that? Okay, right on page 15 at the beginning of scenario 2, it does say hex MW5912 overwatching Brinton's Ford. There was, I guess it's something about simulating a battery there.
Okay.
Forces maneuvered up the right bank to reduce both Proctor's battery at 4809 and the gun position. Oh, Well, yeah, it says it's a gun position.
But in this scenario, there is no gun position there. So
Exactly. Interesting. Um, well, but here's what I guess he was basically saying is that in the real battle, um, this brigade didn't really contribute very much, it looks like. So they're basically saying that if you want to use them, you can use them, but you're going to pay a VP penalty.
Right, because I mean, if you were going to, I suppose you could march them across Brinton's Ford,
Mm-hmm.
and then, I mean, try to
Maybe
get
try to
somewhere
make them
behind
useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then race back.
Yeah. Or have somebody race there, but yeah.
Well, that's true because they wouldn't have to, although they're going to be closer than anybody. So
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah, but that would certainly, you could put British forces between Washington's forces down in the south and what I guess is that Green's forces up there by Birmingham Hill.
No, it's kind of a complicated mess. Scott. It's Sullivan's detachment, including Stevens' wing and part of Alexander's wing.
Okay.
It's kind of a mess of order of battle, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's a little bit mysterious there.
So given the victory conditions, are we supposed to basically clear you away from the roads? So destroy or damage as much of your stuff as possible, and then also push you away from these roads so that you don't have anything near, not near the Nottingham Road, for example.
Well, let's review the victory conditions because actually I think they're simpler than that, really. One is just what's the ratio of SP losses between the two sides. That forms the base number. For purposes of computing SP losses, for some reason, some of mine count as more than others. The North Carolina Brigade, once I've lost 8, all subsequent ones cost 3, as if they were 3. Why, I have no idea. And then in the second of the 71st foot, each loss counts as 3 losses. Again, really a bit mysterious why that's such a big deal. Add 1 to the victory result if there's an unrouted British unit in or adjacent to Painter's Crossroads, which is basically in the southeast corner of the map. It basically means you run me off the board.
Right.
Subtract 1 if your line of communications is interdicted, and I completely agree with you, David. It would only make sense that be if I've interdicted it behind you.
Yes.
I can't interdict you in front of you. I don't think I can anyway. That wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
And it does seem strange that it doesn't say that. It just says if you're anywhere along this road. But I guess it's kind of implicit that the British line of communication has to start with the British units and then head back from there. And then there's the subtract 0.5 if you fail to have the 18 units there. And then it's really just a ratio. And your objective would be for whatever that final value be 2.25 or higher for a British victory.
Okay.
And so obviously, if you could get to Painter's Crossing and keep me from interdicting your line of communication, well, then you only need to have a 1.25 loss ratio, which isn't really that steep. But you can see where where David's concern is that if you don't leave those 18 strength points back there, 0.5 is a pretty big swing on this.
Oh, so it's so say we did the calculations and the ratio we came up with was 2.5, and then we subtract 0.5 from it, and then it just becomes 2.
And now it's a draw because a draw is between 1.8 and 2.2 inclusive. And so yeah, I mean, I could easily see it being worth a lot of strength points.
Right. Okay.
And kind of I would question whether it's a good deal to use those extra 20, I call 23 strength points. I'm not really sure you'd be happy at the end of it that it was a good use of your time. On the other hand, I don't know, maybe running them along the road and making me worry about them, that's a thing to worry about. So, that's different choices. Couple of things that were not obvious I wanted to make sure everybody knew, and that is that your units, David, up north can't rapid march during the course of the scenario. Presumably they're tired from having gotten up at 4 o'clock this morning and they've already been marching 9 hours, right?
Yep. I was aware. Yeah, I was aware of that. Yep.
Right. Um, Another one that's, again, totally not obvious, and that is the first few turns, a lot of the light infantry are limited to 2 movement
Good
points.
point. Yep.
And only can be activated once per turn, even with special results. So again, that means even slower for those first several turns. And then the one that really got me is once there's no American unit north of hex row 48,
Yep.
then the Guards Brigade comes out, the 1st Grenadier Battalion comes out, and the 3 Hessian Grenadier Battalions come out as well.
Yeah.
Don't
and
don't
again,
really have a historical basis for that either. I'm sure there's a
I
good
was
reason.
very
I don't know
curious
it
what
is.
that was too. I remember on doing that. So
Yeah.
I was
So they're withdrawn from the battle?
yeah.
Yeah, they're just removed from play.
Huh.
And I don't know what the story is. Now, based upon our play at Monmouth, there were all kinds of special rules about the Hessian Grenadiers. They're being very slow. They theoretically have the same 4 movement points as everybody does. But
I
if
didn't
they
see those
moved more
restrictions
than
here.
sorry?
I didn't see those same restrictions in here.
Exactly. But I was just wondering if somehow just, by the time the battle started really moving, they couldn't keep up. So we just pull them out of the game. I don't know. I'm not sure what the motivation was. It would actually be interesting to ask Matthew to give a little bit of insight into that.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I do actually get a better idea. The 2nd of the 71st Regiment, the reason it counts as more SP losses is because actually they were assigned to guard the baggage train, and they're never allowed to voluntarily move within 8 hexes of an American unit. If within 8 hexes, they may not move to be closer. So presumably the idea there is that if they actually take any losses, it means things went really bad for the British, I guess.
Right.
And where are they anyway? Are they back here on?
Probably back there on your side
Okay,
somewhere.
yeah,
I
I
think
see them
they're
over
right-
here on
I think they're right
the road
here.
to Chad's Ford. Yeah,
Starved Gut Road.
yeah.
Where did they come up with that name? That's nice.
Some clever Pennsylvanian came up with that.
Yeah, I mean that one does feel a little bit like, really. I mean, if he can't move within 8 hexes of the enemy, what makes you think the enemy's going to move within 8 hexes of him? But I guess it's encouraging me to be a sneaky guerrilla tactic guy and come across one of these fords and attack your baggage train. I guess I don't know.
Well,
Okay.
and what does that make me do? Then I have to move back, I guess, or I have to engage you or stop you or who knows what. Oh,
Well, actually, all it says there as far as that unit goes is that if within 8 hexes of an American unit, due to the Americans' movement, you can't move any to get any closer.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't say you have to move away. It's just you can't get any closer to them.
But I don't see anything in the victory. I didn't see anything in the victory conditions about that. Where was that?
Oh no, the victory conditions are just that every strength point lost out of that unit is equal to 3 strength points in the in terms of the victory conditions.
Okay.
So it would just be,
Obviously, from your point of view, if you can get a couple of hits on it, that's good for you. And for
Yeah,
me, I'm trying to prevent that from happening.
exactly.
For example. Okay, all right. Now
Yeah.
that makes sense
Stay
because I couldn't
stay
quite
off my
follow the
baggage
words.
train, please. Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay, so I have set up all my pieces. I've taken off all the K-Tex markers, so I think I am good to go now.
So is this Chad's Ford is it blocked or is it not blocked? Is Chad's
Uh,
Ferry blocked? They've
right.
got an
So
X on one of them, so I'm not
oh,
sure.
that was just, I'm sorry, I should have removed it as well. So it was my option to block one or the other, and I elected to block the ferry instead, to
Okay.
leave the Ford open.
How exciting. Now,
Yeah.
for me, I'm used to Napoleonic stuff where people are moving in column with screens of skirmishers in front of them.
Hmm.
Um, and I know from what I've seen with you guys playing, when I've observed your games, usually you then deploy into line either, well, in some cases, like with Chertuzits, I think it was, right? You
Hmm.
already had your battle line kind of set, and you're just kind of marching forward
That's
progressively.
right. Yeah, the Austrians and then what few Prussians were on the board were already in line.
Right.
The only people who were really in column were King Frederick's reinforcements coming on the board, who were all in road column, furiously trying to get onto the field of battle and get deployed before the Austrian cavalry came and shredded them.
Right. So
Um,
when
yeah.
I'm setting these guys up, would it be correct for me to have them in March column, I guess, until I get them
Okay.
across the stream and then deploy them into line? What's the usual, um,
Uh,
way that
you
you
know,
guys kind
I,
of
I
run
think
things?
I think I would take a slightly different approach to this than I would if this was one of the 7 Years' War games. And the reason I say it is because there's really very little I can do to your guys. First of all, I don't get most of my activate, or most of my commands don't get to activate right away.
Oh, okay.
At the beginning of the game, I have one formation up north that can activate. Nobody else can do anything really. Um, but the other thing is, of course, I have no cavalry. Right? I mean,
Right.
it's like, what was I going to do about you anyway? I'm a long way away. So if you came across in column, probably not really that big of a deal. It's not like I've got a lot of artillery that could take shots at you. The distance is still pretty high. If this was a 7 Years' War battle, I'd definitely be cautious about crossing in column for fear that somebody's going to whack me before I can get back in line.
Okay.
Uh, but here,
Well,
it may not matter that
and in
much.
La Bataille, if you're in line, you have a movement penalty. While I think with this rule set, whether you're in line or in column, your printed movement value is the same. Is that correct?
That's right. But if you look at the terrain effects chart, you'll see there's a very different cost for every hex,
Oh
whether
yeah,
you're
yeah,
in.
yeah. So some things cost
So, yeah,
more
you're
than
definitely
others.
faster in column, no
Okay.
question.
Well, that's what I was
Yeah,
curious about because just reading through the basic rules, I was a little
it didn't
confused
really
that
say.
there didn't seem to be
Right,
any difference. While in La Bataille, it's very clear, it's -2 off your movement kind of a thing. So, okay.
right.
Well,
What you will see, though, is that really, um, you might almost think that, so in this series, there are three different um, formations. There's march column,
right,
which is really useless for combat. You can't fire at all, and you're just nearly, you can't close assault
right,
in march column. So really, it's not a situation you want to be in. Plus, of course, you got a lot of flanks,
right,
which is awkward. Um, Attack column is a very awkward formation. In many of the games, it's not even like in Fontenoy, it's not even allowed. It wasn't something that was getting used very much, but it actually is a combat formation. Big downside to it is that you literally have to take a disorder check every time you do a facing change.
yeah. I mean, it
So
from what I
it's
saw, it
not
looked like you have to just go straight in like a torpedo
Yeah.
when you're in that formation.
They,
So
I
line
think they
seems to
talked
be the
about
most.
being used
Yeah.
exactly. So really, there's a lot of line, and if it seems a little monotonous to a Napoleonic guy, I could understand why, because it feels like, wait a minute, I used to be able to play three-dimensional chess. Now I'm back to
Right.
two-dimensional.
Yeah.
How much fun is that? But I mean, it's linear combat.
Yep. Yep. Well.
That's where the name comes from. So.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so yeah, so you are allowed to be in march column when you set up, or you could be in line. And I would say it kind of is, preference at this point, because again, my guys can't activate at all until where is that rule? Again, if only my desk were bigger so I could have every chart out at the same time. So, when is the first turn? Is it 420 or 440?
Oh, for this scenario?
Yeah. 420.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah, actually, the turn chart was already set up on that, if I remember right.
Oh, okay. The 3rd Virginia and the 3rd Virginia B Regiment is the only American unit that is free to move from the start of the scenario. All other units can be activated and can change facing or formation, but may not exit their initial deployment hex, even for special results, until they are released. This restriction is immediately lifted for an individual unit or leader if an enemy unit moves within 8 hexes of that unit or leader. The turn of release when they are free to move is listed below. All units north of Brinton's Ford Road are released starting on the 5 o'clock turn, as well as is Lafayette. On 5:20, Wayne's Wing and the Light Infantry Brigade are released. 5:40, Green's Wing and the North Carolina Brigade are released. And then 5:40, Washington, Knox, and the WG unit. WG? Where are they? I don't recall seeing them set up. Looking. I agree with you. That name makes sense, but I don't see them anywhere on the order of battle. Curious. Maybe a cut and paste error. I don't see it anywhere here. Okay. I don't propose to worry about it then. Anyway, so what does that mean?
Maybe one of the cavalry units.
Oh, I wonder. I do not see it.
No?
No, I don't. Okay. No say nada. All right. Okay, so let's figure out what else we're doing here.
A 1-4 unit, little 1-4 guy.
Oh. Well, the funny part is he's on the order of battle, but he's not listed as being anywhere in the setup.
Part of this scenario.
Right.
Other than that he can't move until a certain time.
Well, which is a little weird. Whatever. I don't propose to worry about it. It's a 1-4. Who cares? So
It's your best unit. What are you talking about? That thing
we
is
will ask
awesome.
Matthew and see if he has some insight into what that's all about. But otherwise, I don't propose to worry about it. Okay. So short answer to you is you've got a number of turns before I could do anything.
All right.
as long as you stay 8 hexes away from me. Once I could start doing things once where you're within 8 hexes.
Well, I mean, I'll do that as soon as I come across Chad's Ford, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
you'd
I'd be
come
within
across
one,
Chad's
two, three,
Ford.
4, 5, 6,
Yeah,
7. I mean,
yeah, and you'd probably want to get in line once you get across the river.
yeah.
Now, the other thing I was wondering, am I interpreting this right that the only place we can actually cross the river is within 4 hex sides of the whatever ford we're going across?
That was my understanding, that you can't just cross anywhere you like. I mean, that was how I understood it.
Yeah, that's the way I interpret it too. I mean, you can't cross at the other fords or anything.
Well, I don't know why. I mean, there are other Fords here, right? I
There's
mean,
lots
there's
of
this
yeah.
one here. There's Britton's Ford. There's Newell's
Oh,
Crossing. Anywhere,
Crossing.
it said anywhere where a road crosses the stream is a ford, right? So obviously
yeah.
Chad's. I mean, unless these other things are not roads, they're trails or something.
I'm not sure where you were coming up with.
Let me see if I can find it.
Were you looking on page 9 under creek hex sides? Because I mean that was a little curious. I was head scratching a little. Creek hex side are those that form Brandywine Creek or that feed into Brandywine Creek and are within 3 hexes of the main creek, like that one that's branching east from Chad's Ford, for example. It's like, okay, those first 3 hexes are creek, and after that, it's not creek anymore. But I don't see anything about the fords.
Well, that's Ford's Hexsides is on that same page. Is on page 9.
Exactly right.
Right. So it says
When a ford,
a ford exists wherever a road runs through a creek or stream
yeah,
hexside.
yep,
And
yeah,
so any of
exactly,
those, whether they've got a name for it or not, are technically fords. They don't have to be
yeah,
called a ford, as long as they've got a road running
right.
across it. It's considered a ford.
And actually, it looks to me, if I look at the terrain effects chart, that you can cross a creek, although there's an almighty penalty for it, because it's a huge increase in the movement cost, and you got to go to general order, which means you got to stop, and then the next turn to get out of general order, you can barely move. So, I mean, it's going to slow you way the heck down.
Right.
Whereas a Ford is no big deal. It's just slight increase in your movement cost. So, I mean, the Ford is definitely the easier place to do it,
Yeah.
but it looks
Yeah.
like you can cross anywhere you want.
Yeah. I mean, that would be the thing to do. So okay.
I'm also struggling with what does asterisk mean on this. Oh, it's non-clear terrain for disorder checks. Okay. That's something you probably ought to be aware of, um, Eric, just because you're not as familiar with the system.
Right.
All the terrain that you see there that has an asterisk after the name.
So bramble, grade, marsh,
Yeah.
village, woods,
E-
creek, and transport,
exactly.
etc. Okay.
So if you move into a hex that has that terrain type,
Right.
no big deal. If you move through a hex with that terrain type during one move, then you have to take a movement disorder check.
Right.
If you cross a hex side, well, obviously by definition you've passed through it.
Sure.
So again, you'd have to roll a disorder check, and the number of hexes or hex sides during the course of your movement during that turn will increase the die roll modifier for that. disorder check. So, crossing the creek, yeah, there's a very reasonable chance that some of the units are going to be disordered, but they come back up on the other side. But I just wanted you to understand, you know, that there are actually quite a lot of terrain that will cause that here.
Right, but now the Ford, is the Ford cause that? Because on page
Yeah, it
9 it
does.
says it's treated as clear terrain. So that's why I'm curious. It's got an
Where does
asterisk
it say
here,
that?
but on page 9, there for Fords, it says, yeah, note, Fords
that's it.
over creeks are non-clear terrain. Oh, for disorder. Oh,
Right. But what I'm referring to is on page again in scenario rules, page 17 under M.
17. Okay, 17.
First, it says the British may not cross any Brandywine Creek or Ford Hexide until 5:20 p.m.
Okay, well, I guess
All
that's
right.
important to know.
Yeah, and in that turn, the British player selects either Chad's Ford or Chad's Ferry Hexide as his crossing site, but not both. British units may only cross a Brandywine Creek hexide, which is within 4 hexes of those selected Ford sites.
That's a scenario rule. It's not it wouldn't apply in scenarios 4 or 5 probably. Looks like it's probably just doing it here. Well, the other thing that's implicit in that is that then I don't get to choose which one's closed, because it sounds like you're choosing which one you're going to cross at.
No, you still get to choose which one you block, because by doing that, all the one that's not blocked has the at least one hexide that has a
okay, I take
a
your
forward movement factor, whereas the others,
Okay.
all of them are the disorder, blah blah blah.
Right, got to go into general order, the whole deal. Okay,
Yep.
all right, no,
so,
that's fair. All right,
say that one more time, David, so I understand you.
Okay. He selects which one which Ford he wants to block.
Right,
At 5:20,
right.
At 5:20, we select which one we are going to cross. We can either select his blocked one or the unblocked one.
Okay.
And if we select the unblocked one, we at least have one hex side that's only the Ford cost to cross. All the rest of them are you have to go into general order and then back out of general order and come across. And we're only allowed to do it whichever Ford we select is the only one
that we get.
You're only allowed to cross within 4 hex sides of the selected Ford hex side.
Okay.
Boy, and the other thing to think about there is it's 4 hex sides.
Yeah, it's not 4 hexes.
It's not 4 hexes. It's not even close to 4 hexes. Yeah.
Well, in most of the cases, like at least Chad's Ford, Chad's Ferry, there are only 2 hexes, so there's at most, just a few hex sides there anyway. So, all right, and so we can't cross. We can't cross until 5:20.
You cannot cross till 5:20.
Huh.
And that makes sense because, of course, you weren't supposed to be crossing until the attack had developed over to the north, right?
Yes.
I mean, you wanted to be striking at the same time. You were supposed to be holding my attention.
Yep.
Until I got hit in the flank, and then okay, well now I can go ahead and come across and roust all you pesky rebels.
All right. Well, good. I think we've got a sense of what's going on. So
I think so.
So now I guess it would be just setting up stuff, and in most cases, everything's just supposed to set up within 1 hex.
Within 1 hex of where the tile marker is. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of flexibility there.
Now, reading through the command control rules, it's for the leaders have to be within 4 hexes of their units in order
whenever they're.
Well, I guess all of your guys have got 4 command distance.
Well, I have no
We
idea.
have
I mean, I just read the basic
Oh,
rules, and it had
okay.
example XYZ. It's 4 hexes, and then
Right.
if you've got 2 battalions that are next to each other, it extends it, kind of a thing.
Yeah. All
So
right.
I didn't know if it's 4 hexes
so
or if there's something
let
where it would
let's look at
indicate.
this
Okay,
guy right here, First Battalion of the 71st Foot, and the leader is sitting on top there. The
right,
leader is the parenthetical 4-8.
right.
That 4 is the distance that he can be from the units he's commanding.
Okay. So some
And
leaders might. So this other chap up here has a 3 on him.
right, exactly. And
Okay.
so obviously then he would need to be within 3 of any of his units. He doesn't need to be stacked with any of them.
Right.
But he does need to be within 3. Where it gets to be a little bit of a dance, of course, is that has his own commander, right?
Right.
Wherever Mr. Niephausen is.
right there.
Oh, okay. And you'll
And
see
Niephausen is a 6.
he's a 6-8, and then there's one extra wrinkle you should bear in mind.
Okay.
For a leader tracing command to another leader, you can use road rate. Actually, let me say that differently. If you're following a road, you can use half a point per hex.
Right.
So he could actually be 12 hexes from one of his subordinates along a road, and then the subordinate would still be in command.
Okay.
However, that only applies leader to leader. So for a leader and his troops, it's hexes.
Right.
It doesn't matter if there's a road or not.
But from a superior commander to his subordinate, it's got this other thing. So it could trace it
Yes.
along and use part of the road and
Yeah.
part of the
Just
part
for
of the
every
hexes.
road hex, it counts
Okay.
as half of one of the hexes of his command radius. Right. So the other thing to bear in mind, and this, it's one of those things that, especially early in the battle, it doesn't matter a whole lot. But being out of command has several different meanings. But if a leader is out of command, that is to say, you got one brigade over here off to the left, and he's not within reach of his commander, there's really very few limits on what he can do. He can't rapid march. He can't, his units can't enter an enemy zone of control unless they're already adjacent to that enemy zone of control.
Right.
There's the limits are pretty light touch. The real stern limits are when a unit is out of command of its own leader.
Right.
That's when they're reduced to half movement, and then all the other restrictions too.
Okay.
So don't get too worked up, especially when you're still maneuvering to contact. If someone's out of command for a while, not the end of the world. Obviously, once you're about to make contact and you actually want to be able to really do things, well, then it might be a little bit more awkward. But it's not as draconian as some systems where it's just like, you can't move because you're out of command. So, I mean, these guys have some degree of ability to act.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know.
Okay. Now, I was just trying to figure out so it looks like we actually go through activating all the units, all the formations, even though I literally can only move one formation of mine. So we are going to be chucking some dice here, even if there's very little movement going to happen for these first couple of turns. I mean, obviously the guys up in the north are going to be moving, but it's just interesting to realize that every formation still activates.
Hey, so I do have a question. Looking at the terrain effects chart that I downloaded,
Yep.
I can't find anything here regarding stacking. So
That's the parenthetical number.
Oh, that little thing there. Okay.
Yeah, that's how many strength points can stack in that formation in that terrain.
Okay. Okay. So up to
And it's a
in
lot.
clear, it's 32. Okay.
If
In
you're in
line.
line.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
that's a whole lot of stuff you can get in there.
It's so many that it's easy to forget, honestly, because you just there's almost never an excuse for having that many in one hex.
Well,
If you did, the
and
enemy
our
would be
and
around your flanks.
right, and our game scale is still what 100 yards per hex, but the number of
100 yards
men
per hex and only
is
50 men per
yeah.
increment.
So that's
Right.
why it's a lot more than what we would have expected for
Exactly.
something on the continent, whether it's
Exactly.
Napoleonic or 7 Years' War. Okay.
Right, because most of these units are anywhere from 100 to 400 or 500 men. I
Okay.
mean, they're not very big units.
Yeah. All right. Excuse me for just half a second. You guys can start on some stuff. I just have to take something out of the oven.
By all means, I got to go put some water in this whiskey.
I got to put some whiskey in my water.
Oh my goodness, what's the matter? Okay, so you've got all your guys. Well, looks like you don't have your guys set up yet.
No, and I do have a. I mean, they're on the correct hexes. They're just
Right.
not in the correct orientations yet.
Unless you want to just keep marching north, you are absolutely welcome. Just march right back to Head of Elk and sail back to jolly old Blighty.
Let's see.
No hard feelings.
Now, is it all my skirmishers? I think it was only two of the or four of the broken down skirmisher units. Where's my setup?
Yeah, there's the first light and the second light that are on your bottom row there.
Those are the ones that have to be in skirmish, right?
Right. I think when they're broken down, they have to be in skirmish.
That, right.
If memory serves. I believe that's right.
That's.
I did find a skirmish marker, but unless there was just something weird about it, I was unable to rotate it. Just a little quirk of the vassal module, I guess. Just it only faces up.
All right, so where's my restrictions on how they have to be set up? The Hessian Jaegers, the second light infantry battalion, have the following movement. Okay. Now the first light doesn't have that restriction, right? Just the Jaegers and the second light.
Yes, those are the ones who have those movement
And
limitations.
that actually, it's not just the first turn, it's 420 through 540.
Wow. So that's interesting. Why? I mean, it kind of means that you either have to go in without them or you have to slow the whole march down to stay back with them. Not terribly appealing.
No, it's not. All right, so, and
Interesting. Only the Jaegers. And that's the Jaegers on the far left of your line, right?
right. So it's these four. The boom, boom.
Right.
Boom, boom. The first,
Right.
they can. They don't have that restriction.
Don't have that restriction. Okay.
And
All right.
Now, I don't have to start with the first in skirmish order, right? They can.
No, unless it set them. Did it specify they had to be in those hexes particularly?
Oh, it does say those hexes. Independent 3.
No, it does specify the hexes, so they have to be in skirmish order. Because they have to be broken down, because it actually specifies A of the first light and B of the first light in two separate hexes.
They're in skirmish. So these guys are all flipped over then, I guess.
We don't actually flip them over.
Skirmish marker in this game.
There's a skirmish marker in this game. Yep. Too many game systems.
Too many game systems.
Too many game systems.
Not my Monday night games.
And then you got reinforcements coming on.
Where are those markers? There we go.
All right. I have sort of returned. I apologize if you hear me eating at you.
Oh, no.
It's because
terrible.
it is.
And you say the skirmish
only 6 o'clock here, and
can't be rotated. Is that what you mean?
I mean, I couldn't get it rotated, so I assume they're.
Nope, it does not rotate, does it?
Yeah, I just thought that was really funny.
No right click on it either.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I was Eric. You want to take just a minute, and we'll go through a little into headquarters or something. And
let's go down to. I guess.
Yes,
we are in the Labatai Discord page, so we can't go to the French headquarters. We got to go to the
coalition, huh?
Coalition, I guess. That's the closest thing.
Fine. I'll just sit here and sulk. Well,
I'm sure we'll ask you questions.
Okay, it's all good.
All
right.
So tell me what's up.
One thing I was thinking about. All right. As soon as he pulls back behind 5800 hex row, my 3 Hessian units, my 2 guards unit, and 1 of my grenadier units disappear.
Okay.
So here is my thought with them. I'm going to use 2 of the Hessian units, and I'm going to go next to that stupid square that we have to get 18 strength points by.
Okay.
Because they're going to end up disappearing at some point anyway. And I got to, so my thought is I'm actually going to take that part of my, the right side of my line there, and I'm going to put them in road column, and I'm going to be hell for leather down that road down by Radley's Ridge, past Joseph Painter's house.
Right.
So basically threaten to flank him
right.
on the whatever road that is he's on, or and if I need to I might even be able to use them for a little bit, because I can then still keep them in 2 of them in road order and hit that square in like 2 turns at road march rates. And so we have that way you can use all your
that brigade or that little division.
Yep, that whole brigade. You don't have to even worry about that thing getting them next there. We don't have to worry about losing that half point. Cool. They're gonna so I'm gonna take my 2 brigades frontally. I'm going to take the guards and the grenadiers around, try and flank. At a certain point, they're going to disappear anyways, and that's what I was thinking. And then you'd have full use of all yours, guys, over there.
Well, and then the other question is he going to? I mean, it sounds like he's kind of stuck in place. Can he really pull back behind number 48 that quickly?
Not that quick. He can't move those till 5 p.m. turn.
Okay.
So I could literally get the two of them on there before that.
But can you engage his troops there at Birmingham Hill before he pulls them away?
So, well, I can get there before I can get to that square before he can pull back behind 5,800. If he were just to pull back behind 5,800 and leave me standing there.
Oh, okay. All right. Then that sounds like a good idea, a good plan. Um, as far
A little
as
gamey,
yeah, well, and does he
but
get any
I got
reinforcements?
a
Does he
lot of
get?
weird restrictions.
Does he is he getting reinforcements? Is the question. I mean, he doesn't look like he's
He
got a
does
whole
not
lot.
get any reinforcements. His stuff is all on the board, as far as I'm aware.
Wow.
I have one. I have one free reinforcement that comes in on the first turn, and that's the only reinforcements in these turn
Huh.
in this one.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a
So
whole lot to work with. So it looks like the bulk of the American army is down here at Chad's Ford.
yep, that's where they were expecting the
Right.
main attack,
Okay.
and so they were all in position there, and all of a sudden they found out, wait a minute, the British got around the thing, and they rushed people up north.
Okay. So do you expect him to hold on to Birmingham Hill?
It's a fairly good defensive position of out of defensive positions he's got.
Right.
Um, let's see. I think he will probably for a little bit,
Okay.
but as I said,
Okay. Well, then that sounds like a plan. I mean, I can't come across the creek anyway until the 520 turn, so I couldn't get to that magical hex anytime. You know, you could probably get there before I could if that's the case.
and the other interesting part is, um, so I gotta have one of them. All right. I can still, if I've got it in road column and we still get to the end turn,
Right.
people units in road columns can still move in road movement.
Oh, okay.
So they're called limited activations. They can't really. Uh, the only ones that people that can move are the ones that are in road column at that point, and they can continue in road column, and that's about it. If your unit activates during limited activations, you can fire, but you can't move. You
Okay.
can't attack. You can't do anything other than basically sit there. So
Okay. Well, cool.
so definitely possibly having some stuff in road column behind that's coming up might be useful for bringing it up fast or something like that when needed.
Yeah, because I
You'll
don't
kind of get
have.
the feel of.
Yeah, at least that one group. The closest ford they could cross would be Newell's or Britain's Ford anyway. So.
But that's the thing. In this scenario, the rules are we can't you can't cross at any ford other than whichever one you pick,
Oh,
Chad's
really?
Ford or Chad's Ferry. That's what the rule says. Yep.
Huh. So so obviously he's blocked Chad's Ferry. So that means the only one we could cross would be Chad's
You
Ford.
can cross either one, and but as I said, the only difference is all the hexes at the one he's blocked are take the maximum. You know, you can't go across the Ford hex at the Ford rate.
Right. You don't get the
That's
bonus.
that's right. That's the only thing that does. But you get to pick one, and I would pick the opposite one because you still get the Ford rate. You'll get.
So I can't. I couldn't cross at these other Fords even if I wanted to, or I could, but I would have to make the whatever morale check and the general
Well,
order and all that jazz, right?
I don't think you even can, according to the that scenario rule. Those are the only you've got it. We got to choose one at 520, and that's the one you're using.
Okay. Well,
So I would with this your British brigade up here a little
I
north.
fed the
I
dogs,
just
dear. I just gave them some food now. Yeah, they're hungry. Nope. All right. Well, I'll plan accordingly then.
All right.
Okay, we'll head back up so that Michael
Okay.
doesn't feel left out.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, we're back.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Time
You've
for you to
realized
worry.
that it's hopeless and you just decided to scurry for the boats?
Yes, we've decided that the challenge of trying to supply an army across the Atlantic Ocean in this situation is,
Insane.
yeah.
Oh, I can't clone those skirmish markers either. Interesting.
No. Gosh, you got to drag every one of them out.
All right. So, all right. Skirmish faces a hex side or a hex vertex?
Hex side. Yep.
This one.
I'm sorry. The vertex. That's right.
Right, and then units that are in column
Face
face a hex side, and units
Right.
that are in line face
Face a
a
vertex.
vertex. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. All right. And I don't have to worry about making any mistakes because I've got to wait a whole hour before I can even go
Across the creek.
The creek, yes.
Well, it gives you plenty of time to ponder deeply how you want to cross the creek. And you don't really have to worry about tipping your hand too much because, well, first of all, there's only a few places you can cross. And secondly, I can't really move any of my units.
Well, from what we understand of the rules, I can only cross at Chad's Ford. That's it.
Or within 4 hex sides of it.
Right. Well, that really narrows it down.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. Because 1, 2, 3, 4. That means that would be the farthest south hex side you could cross.
Yeah.
And obviously, crossing north would be a mess because you'd be going through all that marsh or morass or whatever we're calling it in this game. What are we calling it? No, just marsh. It's not very interesting. Yeah, because if you elected to try to cross at Chad's Ferry, then you wouldn't be allowed to cross at the ferry, but you could cross 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. And I don't know. Not really sure that any of that looks very attractive. Now, the other thing I will say is it looks to me like a couple of my units might get released pretty quickly because at least like these guys, for example, could easily be within 8 hexes of some of your guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's 8 hexes there,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, and when they're in skirmish, they're just in a single hex, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And they just have a little skirmish mark on them.
Yes, that's right. And I don't know. I think the Queen's Rangers, in order to put them in skirmish, actually you break them into the 2 pieces that are on your order of battle.
Right, because they're right now in a regiment. They need to be into a
That's
battalion.
right. Yeah, if you wanted them broken down, then they would become skirmish at that point. And I believe that there was. Yeah, the QR unit may set up as the parent unit or as the breakdown components.
All right.
Oh, well, there's something I had not seen, but which you'll need to know about there, Eric.
Yep.
The QR unit may set up as the parent unit or as its breakdown components. QR starts the game with 1 SP loss, which does count for all game purposes.
Shocking.
You actually need to put an increment marker under it, and
I
I'm winning, ladies and gentlemen. I am winning.
There we go. For the battle ended right now.
That's it.
Well,
And you see, that's why I was trying to encourage you guys to head back to the boats, because, come on. I get the press release already written.
All right. And string points are string points, whether you're with artillery or...
You mean in terms of stacking, or
Stacking.
in terms of what?
Yeah, for stacking
Uh,
purposes.
no, and actually, boy, no, wow. I'm actually really struggling with that. I know what the rules say.
Well,
and
that's better than me. I don't know what the rules
Yeah.
say. So there.
What the rules say is that 1 artillery stacking point counts as 4 infantry stacking points.
Okay.
But, and this is where the head scratching begins for me, you won't see that exact same ratio on the terrain effects chart. Meaning that it's less efficient to stack infantry and artillery together than it is to stack them separately. I never have been clear on why that is. It's always struck me as a little bit unsatisfying. Now you've got a limit of 4 SPs that can, or excuse me, 8 SPs, because we're in the revolution here, that can fire out of a hex.
Okay.
So it's just a function of, who's on top as far as that goes. So you could stack more in there, but it wouldn't get you any more firepower.
Right, but for the purposes of stacking,
Right.
getting people across the creek with
Yeah.
or without a paddle.
Well,
and I've got a bunch
purposes,
of these. Yeah, and a bunch of these units are. It looks like they've got like little battalion guns.
Oh, have
like
you
the
got
Hessians
battalion
do.
guns?
Yeah.
Yes, that's
so
right.
I was trying to keep them kind of stacked with their
yes
little parent.
Yes, and we didn't have any battalion guns in the Monmouth game because the scenario we were playing didn't include those Hessian regiments that were that had them. But yeah, there is definitely a little bit. They are a little bit different than regular guns. First of all, they don't count as stacking at all as long as they're stacked with their own unit.
Okay.
Let's see. I want to find the rules here. It costs regimental guns 1 movement point to limber or unlimber. That's different from regular guns where it takes 2. Regimental guns have their own column on the terrain effects chart. Oh, they do. I'll be darned. Look at that. Okay. Regimental artillery units may only unlimber in and or fire from a hex that contains its respective infantry regiment. Regimental guns can prolong 2 clear hexes per activation rather than just 1. If there are any non-clear hexes or hex sides, they can only prolong 1 hex. If regimental guns prolong only 1 hex, they still cannot make a formation or facing change. They can stack with their respective infantry unit when the unit's in road column, march column, or attack column, which is unusual. You usually can't do that. When stacked with its respective infantry unit, regimental guns count as 0 SPs for stacking purposes. Its facing conforms to that of the infantry unit, and it expends MPs to change facing like the infantry unit when it's stacked with it. So, and this is a little bit unusual that the infantry unit and its regimental guns can combine their fire against the same target during the fire combat segment. Usually, infantry and artillery fire combat are completely separate.
Right.
Right. So there's a few rules about those regimental guns. They're not too bad, but they're a little weird.
Yeah, because they've got, they look like they just basically give you a little bit of punch at close range. Just kind of supporting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you remember that I mentioned, I think last week, that the presence of battalion guns and regimental guns are presumably why in most games in the series, that is to say all the ones back over in Europe, infantry can fire relatively effectively at 2 hex range. It's not nearly as powerful as at 1 hex range, but you can do something at 2 hex range, which has always kind of been a head scratcher for me. It's like, really? 150, 180 yards? You think I'm going to do a damn thing with a brown bass? Don't think so. But you got.
But that's taking into account the light guns, the little light field guns that are kind of rolling along. Okay.
Exactly, right.
Okay, well.
I take that back. For all line and hook formations, oh, no, that's the combat value of the top 6. That's for combat. Fire formations chart. What? There's a chart that I'm looking for the chart. It should be 8 SPs that can fire.
Yes, it is 8. That's
I'm trying to figure out where it says that, because it doesn't specify it in the rules. It references you to a chart, but I don't think the chart actually says.
I thought I remember seeing it in the rules. Let's see.
I'm not. Unless it's another chart and I'm not recognizing it by its name, which we can't rule out. Charts.
I don't see it in the regular rules, where at least in a quick.
looks like if I look on the infantry line strength point chart that's on the fire chart. Oh, there it is. I finally found it. It's on the fire chart.
On the fire chart.
On the fire chart. If you look on the just below the combat results table on the right hand side, there's a section called B, fire formation chart. And it says
Maximum
that
SB firing, artillery 8, attack column 2, general order 6, line 6, skirmish 6. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep, that is exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I don't think I'm trying to remember. I thought in Monmouth we were doing 8.
Yeah.
I don't know. Either I'm misremembering or we misplayed it. Not sure which.
No, I think it actually said that for Monmouth.
Okay.
Because I remember it was 6 for skirmishers and 8 for my.
Right. That's what I was thinking. But looks like it's 6 for everybody here.
And And yeah, and if you're in regular column, you have to be in attack column to even be able to fire. You can't fire in regular column.
Yeah, you can't fire in march column. I mean, that is for a different decade. I'm sorry. Not this one. Okay. Well, I think then that are we as organized as we're likely to get?
Or as likely to be set up as.
Very good.
Yeah, I do have a question, Eric. Your guy out front there, I'm not sure why he's okay.
Which
Maybe
guy is that?
Never mind.
Oh,
I had a question, but I think I figured out the answer.
I think he's telegraphing his intent here. That's what I think is happening. Actually, that's an interesting point because the rules of this scenario basically make those guys march south because they can't cross at Newell's Crossing.
Correct.
Yeah, it's fascinating. They got to march all the way down and then march all the way back up, or somebody has to march all the way back up. Very curious. All right. Well, I'm sure we can ask Matthew about it. I usually try to keep a list of questions and observations.
All right. So are you ready to? Because I was going to save a copy of the formation, the setup before we start the game.
Oh, that's a lovely idea. Yeah.
So everybody's ready. I think I'm ready up there, and we'll save a copy.
All right, I'm saving it too. Well, you can look at it and go, this is where the big mistake was made. Right here.
What were these idiots
thinking about?
Oh, darn.
All right. So what do we do next?
All right.
Michael just posted a bunch of strange symbols.
Oh, at least on my Mac, every time I hit the command tab to move to a different application,
right,
it puts one of those little squares there. I don't know whether the Z's probably came from me trying to rotate something and I didn't hit the command Z, Control Z.
I thought that you were falling asleep listening to our less than witty banter here.
No, it wasn't an attempt to send some very clever code either. No, it wasn't. So how are you guys organized in terms of your command?
I have no idea.
Because if memory serves, the British leaders are set up such that I think you guys are always in command as long as you're on the west side of the creek. Is that right?
I don't know. I mean, Kniephausen's got his own command, right?
He does, but so here's the trick. So in this game, everything has to reference back to the army leader. However, obviously, in a case like this, what's most common is that there's a detachment that's formed, which effectively just acts like a separate army, not having to reference back to the original army leader.
Right.
And I just wasn't sure, is that how you guys are set up at the beginning of the game? I remember there being some. It says here, BG Wayne is a detachment leader. His detachment consists of his wing and the light infantry brigade. Sullivan is also a detachment leader. His detachment consists of Stephen's wing and Alexander's wing, except for those guys. Here it is. Kniphausen is a detachment leader. His detachment consists of the 4 commands of his wing. So you don't have to worry about tracing command from Kniphausen back to Howe, for example.
Where did you find that? Because I'm
was on the left-hand side of page 17.
I'm
Under
up at page 7 looking at where it had British leaders, but that was talking about replacement leaders.
Right. And that was a reasonable place to look, but in this case, it's under paragraph H on the left column on page 17.
Oh,
and I think there's only one kind of funky rule that we may decide to waive in the interest of keeping everybody engaged in the game. And that is, if I remember, there's some goofy rule about if you have a detachment and you activate a formation in the detachment, that all the activations of the formations in that detachment have to happen before you can then go back to the main army. That probably didn't get expressed very well. Once a command belonging to an attachment to a detachment has been activated, if the next activation by that player is not for another command in that same detachment, then all the other commands in that detachment may only perform limited activations for the remainder of the game turn. Commands of the main army are not subject to this restriction and can be activated at any time. I'm not really sure what the point of all that is, other than I guess just to kind of indicate the awkwardness of trying to coordinate 2 different commands, the one that's detached and one that's the main army. Since we got 3 players here, 2 of you representing the main army and the detachment, I'm not really sure if we want to force it to be that way, because it just means more enforced idleness.
Right.
For you specifically, Eric, because it means that once you get an activation, if
I'd have to move everything, and then I would.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I'd have to wait until another turn before I could do anything.
And if David said, no, I got to have an activation, then you're done, right? And I don't know. That seems unnecessarily complex in this case. It might be easier if we just dismissed that and just considered all the commands independent. Okay. Is Howe on the battlefield, by the way?
He's up here.
Is he?
With me.
Okay.
Yep. Should be right there.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Well, it looks like then you've got a +3 command rating, and I've got a +2 as old George here. So it looks like there's a +1 to you on the initiative die rolls. Is that how you see it?
I thought I remembered you saying yours were also +3 last week, but
I don't know why I would have said that, because here I am looking at it and it says +2.
All right. So yeah, that'd be +1 to me.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I haven't actually rolled the dice in this thing. Let's see what we get.
There we go.
Okay. So in this case, the button is thoughtful enough to actually have a red one on the left and a blue one on the right.
Correct.
So just the formula we have followed here, Eric, is that the left-hand digit is the British digit, and the right-hand digit is the American digit.
Well, that makes sense.
So we do the 2 would be +3, which would be 5, and his 1 would be +2, which would be 3. So
Exactly.
we got the first activation.
5 beats 3. And then where is the time chart? I'm sure it must be here. Oh, there it is. All right, it's 4:20. You got the first activation. We did not exceed our end turn number, so we don't advance the end turn marker. And it's over to you, campers. What do you want to move first?
Right. I'll take the first activation here just so that because I have a feeling we'll have plenty and not, and I am going to activate.
And
the
your guys can
guard.
actually move.
Yes. And I'm going to activate the guards.
Okay.
All right.
He's bringing in the guards already. Look.
Bringing in the guards.
Look at that. He's a
All right.
coward.
So 1, and into road column is +1 for the extension, so it'd be 2 to turn that into road column. Is that
I
correct?
believe that is correct. I always have to look because it's not symmetrical.
Right. The other way, it
is movement column to road column. March column to road column is 1 movement point plus 1 movement point per hex difference. Yes.
Yeah, I probably can't. Oh, I can clone these.
And which one are you? Where are the guard? Oh, that's your right. Okay.
All right. So he moved 1 there. Now 2, 3.
Okay, and moving
so
down that slope didn't cost you anything. We just need to get used to the terrain chart here.
Right.
Yeah, so gentle slope doesn't seem to cost anything.
Okay, good.
Unless you're going up, in which case it might be a +1.
So I've used 3.
Regular slope, that's a different story.
Right.
And then steep slope, a different story further yet.
Okay, so...
And so I can go another 4 hexes, right?
So you moved forward 1 hex, is that right?
Yep.
And so that cost you a half, right?
Oh, it's only half. I was counting 1. Yeah, that's a column. Right? Clear column.
Yeah, it's only half.
Yeah, open terrain column. Although it's actually grade. Does that matter? No, it doesn't matter. Okay, all right. So it looks like that would have cost you a half to move here. And then you could have gone into line at a cost of 2. So that'd be road 2.5 that you would have spent road column there. And so then what's our speed in road column here?
2 hexes per half movement point. So I had an extra half, so I could go 6 further hexes.
Okay, well, let's see. That's 2.5, 3.5. Oh no, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. Yes, I would agree. Do we not have extension markers? Yeah, we do.
I just put the one behind it. Okay, yeah, all right. I get you. Actually, I might want 1/2.
So does the size of the unit then determine how many
yes
hexes? So let's see, road.
Yeah, I think you can have in this series where it's, at the different scale, I think you can have 8 strength points can be in road column in 1 hex.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it was in the other.
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm double checking it right now. Road column, 8 strength points per hex may be in road column formation. In a multi-hex road column, each hex must have 8 with any remaining SPs in their last hex.
Okay.
Since no unit at Brandywine is larger than 16 SPs, a single unit can occupy at most 2 hexes in road column. Artillery in road column can have 2 SPs per hex. All right. And then they're following in behind. All right, he's making a bold move. Look at him. He's racing down to take the guards and stick them at Newell's Crossing.
There you go.
I see how you play. I see how you play. All right. And you have flipped the leader over, so you
Yep.
are good to go. That was the end of the first activation. Congratulations.
Very exciting.
Health clap for everybody here.
Yeah.
All right.
The first activation has happened.
All right. I will chuck. It's only been 2 hours and 45 minutes since we started, so this is perfect. We're making great steam now. You rolled I rolled the last one, so you roll one.
I'll roll one, and we'll see.
Go
what we-
ahead. Ho ho ho.
Ooh. That
Ooh.
will-
I didn't see any mention about wing activations in the rules. Not
Neither
like in
did
Monmouth,
I.
where there were no wing activations. There was just double activations. I didn't see that in here. Did you?
No, I did not. We will check real
Wow, I
quick.
could activate a whole wing and not do anything.
Because we have
How do you like that?
with ours +3, it becomes 5, and you had what, +2?
Yeah, but what's really key here is, and it's on one of the charts. It's actually on the turn record track. There's for each leader, there's a wing activation number called the WAN,
Okay.
and that's one of the two criteria. Your number that you roll, the actual die roll itself, needs to equal or exceed that number, and it has to be twice the die roll value that the other guy rolled.
Right.
So obviously, if it had been a 7 and a 9, I wouldn't get a wing activation. But a 2 and a 9, I get a wing activation. And again,
So it has to be twice what the die roll is, not what the modified die roll.
Exactly. Yeah, the
Okay.
modification doesn't matter. It's just the pure die roll itself. Okay.
Correct.
Yep.
If you'd rolled a 4, that would have been enough. No,
That wouldn't have been enough because it wouldn't have exceeded my 7.
right, okay.
Right. So it doesn't happen terrifically often, but it certainly happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right,
you
so-
get a wing activation, then this and the end turn is 10, right? So this would move the end turn marker.
Oh, so it would. So it would. Well done. Yes. Boom. End turn marker just moved. Yes, because we exceeded the 10. That's the character there. All right. So given all that exciting stuff,
So it
then
exceeded
it's
10 because it's 9 plus your 2?
9 plus 2 being 11 exceeds 10, and therefore it moves the end turn marker. Yep, that's right.
Right, and that's the +2 for your leader.
That's
No.
the two with the dice roll.
Oh, okay. So
You add
we
the
add
two
the two
digits.
together, it's over 10. Okay. All right.
Exactly.
Because we've got a lot of numbers that were there. I'm trying to figure out which ones we're adding.
Yeah, and it's so obvious when you've done this a lot. And
Yeah.
It's not obvious at all otherwise, isn't it?
It's all right.
Thanks for helping out our no doubt enormous audience. So.
We actually have. We've had pretty consistently anywhere between 6 and 8 people watching.
I'm stunned. I
I
hope
know.
they've been riveted by what's been going
come
on so far.
When
Okay.
I told
It's-
them that Michael McAlpin was in the game, instantly the
That's
numbers
when things
jumped.
got real.
Yeah.
That's when stuff got real. Okay. Okay. Well, golly, then I'm sitting here thinking that that I should probably go ahead and activate Alexander's wing. Yes, I guess.
And they're
And
the
I
ones
must
here at
confess-
Birmingham Hill, or where are they at?
Yes, that's the ones that I had in mind.
Okay.
Although to be clear, Alexander's command is really complicated here because part of his command is way down here, the North Carolina Battalion,
Oh, yeah.
and part of it is the Light Infantry Brigade that's sitting right across from the from you.
Okay.
And then part of it is the 3rd Pennsylvania Battalion, which I think is up here. Well, the New Jersey Battalion. And where's the 3rd Pennsylvania? Oh, the 3rd Pennsylvania is here. Up there on
Right. Yep. No, I see
Birmingham
them.
Hill. And then there's the New Jersey Battalion here. Okay. So, let's see. So I'm trying to figure out if I activate his wing, he can only activate people within his own command range. So actually, it would only affect these two commands up here on Birmingham Hill. So I'll just go ahead and do that just to get out of the way. Not really much I can do because these units can't leave the hex they're in, but I will go ahead and let you know, Yankee, or you limeys, that I'm wise to you because I'm gonna rotate my units to face you, huh? Take that. I can go anywhere in the world and be treated like dirt. I don't have to take it from you. So that's what I just did. That's it for my activation. I will flip the leaders over to mark them as having been activated.
So then it affects obviously the wing commander and then all the sub commanders
That's right.
that were quote unquote activated in the wing activation.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So I flipped all three of them over, the two command leaders and then the wing leader. So we know that they're done for now.
Okay.
So I will chuck, or maybe it's Eric's turn. Eric, chuck
Yeah,
some
go
initiative
ahead.
dice.
All right, here we go.
Roll two dice.
62.
Oh, well played, sir. Well played.
All right, go ahead. You can take that activation if you would.
All right.
So that is, in fact, twice my number, but it's not as high as Hal's wing activation number. So it's not enough for a wing activation. This would just be one formation command.
Okay. So,
You've got what, 4?
well, I've got all kinds of people. I don't know.
You got
I mean,
the-
I think
you've got
this guy here is mine, and then these are the Hessians, and then these belong to some other group, and then I've got these chaps here that are only with that regiment.
Right. So
Yeah.
the thing I would encourage you to do is, at least at the beginning of the game while you're trying to get kind of mentally oriented, is use that order of battle chart, because it'll show you under Niephausen each of the 4 commands under him,
Right.
and you're activating one of those 4.
Yeah.
Of course, it'll
Now-
also give you an idea of who's actually in those commands.
And also, Grant can actually activate both the first and the second.
That's true. That's right.
Right, but doesn't he have to be within some
Oh,
sort
yes.
of proximity?
Yes,
Yeah.
he would need to be.
Yeah,
Yes.
so he's not anywhere near that
Right.
right now.
Since the first is way off to the north, right?
Yeah. So, let's see. I'll be really very cautious here. I will, I guess, activate this guy here, and we're just gonna move him back, right? There's no point in doing anything else. So he's in march column, so that's going to be
I'm sorry. Who is this you're doing?
this one brigade of, or one battalion of the 71st foot, right? I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what else to do with him. He can't really do much, I guess.
Well, it
Because the
is-
other guy
it's-
can't move, right?
Well, I mean, he can't get within 8 hexes of an American,
Okay.
so
So-
he could move forward. But again, to what purpose?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess I could about face him, right? What's it cost to turn around?
Turn around's your full movement.
Okay. Woo. Oh. That flipped him. There we go. We about faced. That was it.
Genius. Now
And
flip the
then-
leader over.
Flip
Yeah.
the leader over. You completed that command.
All right. Exciting stuff.
hmm
All right,
All right.
Michael. Go ahead and roll another.
55.
Hey, that is actually because of your higher command rating. That's actually going to be a +1 to you, but because the die roll equaled it did not exceed the end turn number, we don't advance the end turn marker.
Correct.
So that's an activation for you guys. Away you go.
All right. Why don't you do something, David, while I slowly figure out how to maneuver. you there, David?
Yeah, it's gone quiet, hasn't he?
It has.
He's deep in thought, maybe.
Well, or it could be that his internet connection is having some trouble. We were playing a computer game last week, and we had a couple of issues with him where his internet would just drop. I still see he's connected here on Discord, but I don't see. Normally it lights up green when.
Yeah, I saw the
he's
green
trying.
light flash just a moment ago. There was a little bit of noise, but nothing intelligible. So don't it. It could be an internet problem.
I can text him. There's always one way to reach somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Oh,
just
So,
cool.
David.
heard
Can you hear
something.
me?
Hey,
Hello,
there,
hello.
there you now.
Oh, okay. All right. Did you see what I typed in the game?
Can
Can
you hear me?
Okay.
Apparently, we didn't
I'm
see
back.
it until now.
Yeah, it
Hello.
looks
All right.
like he had lost internet, right? So, because it looks like you had to rejoin the room.
Yeah, I rejoined, so now I'm joined twice, and
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
yeah, but whatever. Okay, so
I tell
well,
you, you got to get better internet connection.
yeah,
It's a shame you're not building a house near one of my customers because they'd get you that better quality internet connection.
I'll be nice when we get moved because we got I got fiber here too. So what else? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how they work out. Okay.
Activate.
I am going to let's see. Oh, I got to open things back up here again. I got all things closed up. Just no, I don't want that. I want pretty sure. Okay, I'm actually going to activate. The fourth
Uh-huh.
and my light units and my grenadiers and my artillery.
And your artillery. Everybody except your reinforcements.
Correct.
All right, then. You got to get out of the way so the reinforcements can come on. So it's
All right.
perfect.
So the first thing I'm going to try and do is see if I got the here.
First thing that officially the first thing you do during an activation is confirm that everybody is in command.
Right.
It's kind of theoretical at this point, right? Because you would hope everyone's in command at this point.
Hal's right there, and this is the guy that's activating, and
right.
Everybody's connected.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, strictly speaking, there is no regimental integrity rule in this game.
Okay,
that was one of the specific rules here. But the effect of that is, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's the only unit who's far enough away that it actually matters. And by the way, he's only allowed to move 2 movement points anyway. So I don't think it much matters.
Well, but isn't he independent? So don't the independent units move without having to be within range of a commander?
Yes and no.
Okay.
A movement, an independent unit that is within the command radius of the activated leader,
right,
is in command.
Okay.
One that's in the command radius of any non-command leader, like How, for example, is in command. This one.
So I should have had my leader, this guy, over one, and then he would have been fine.
That's basically what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm also not really going to worry about it a lot, but yes. And don't get me wrong, because effectively for an independent unit to put itself in command, all it is it takes an effectiveness check. You roll 2 dice, and I don't know what his effectiveness rating is. He's a 29, so you'd have to beat 29, or equal or beat 29 on 2 dice. So, in other words, most of the time he's going to put himself in command, whether there's a commander near him or not. In this case, let's just count it as given because it's the first turn. And then those Hessians, what unit are they part of?
They're independent.
Are they?
These
Yeah.
guys here?
Oh, they're the Hessian Grenadiers. I see. Okay. Well, they're all in command because they're right there by Howe. So
Mhm.
anyway, I just wanted to go through the process of just making sure that the command control segment is the first phase. And it gets to be a harder deal as you get a little further along,
Okay,
of course.
cool.
Then
So-
you do disorder recovery. Of course, there is
We
no
don't have any.
disorder to recover, so that's easy. Then fire combat, which clearly we're not going to do a lot of. And so then it's time for movement.
That's time for. And the first thing I'm going to do there is try and reform this skirmisher unit right here.
Aha.
So, and so they have to, I don't even know what their, what's their,
So
they
you're
are
going to
23.
combine them back together again into their
Yeah,
regiment?
they had to start that way.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they were actually just on the setup chart. They were separate, and therefore they had to be in skirmish order.
So I have
So
to
how-
roll, I have to roll their, effectiveness or whatever that
Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't
Yep.
remember that.
Oh yeah, there's a whole procedure for it here.
Oh my
on
gosh,
Page
where-
14 of the regular rules.
Page
Skirmisher
4?
only unit reform.
Oh my gosh, good for you. Gosh, the teacher is now the student. Look at this.
So I have to roll greater than equal to or greater than the worst effectiveness. So I have to get a 23 or higher. And I got a 91. So yes. So then they combine into whatever hex. They both have to be next to one. There, what? So I'm going to combine into here. And now I get the combine marker off. Those are the first, right? Yeah.
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 So, and I got the column. And let's put these back over here.
Makes me wonder how many other rules I haven't ever read. I haven't ever read that one or the reform one up above.
Which way do you want to have them
Amazing.
facing? Oh,
Go
yeah.
on that way. All right. So, and now they still have their, it doesn't cost any movement points. They still have their full movement point at this time. So they are 11.
So they would basically, if they go into road, they would take up to.
3, there would be 3 points. No, it's 2 points to go, or yeah, because it's 1 point extension, 8 per
Right.
2. All right, so let's. They're going to go into road.
So it's going to be the same thing. They have to move forward the. Well, I guess strictly speaking, they don't have to. They could do it in place because there's nothing to keep them from going into road, even with the artillery behind them. Actually, that's not really true. All right, that's 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. I think you're 1 hex ahead of where I can understand. Did you decide to move forward
1, 2, 3,
with your
4.
getting yourself back together? What hex did you regroup into?
Well, I regrouped into there. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. To here.
Actually, it looks to me like you could have reformed right there.
It does say it has to be one of the squares that one of the units is in. I think it says all seems to be in the movement
Does?
is adjacent to a common hex, which is unoccupied by any unit other than one of the reforming skirmisher units.
Unoccupied by any. Yeah, I would submit that one is unoccupied by any.
And it's adjacent to both of them.
It
And
says
it's not
unoccupied by any other than one of the
Yeah.
reforming.
Yeah, but it doesn't really come out and say that it has to actually be one of those hexes, just as it can't be any other. No other unit can be there. I think you're fine to go ahead and do it right there. In which case, you're okay where you are.
Yeah.
Because then you'd
amount
be
of
at 2
distance that you're
movement
covering is
points.
the same anyway. Yeah.
2, 2.5, 3, 3.5. Yeah, you're fine. Okay. And then you put an extension marker out. There you go. That's a spirit.
All right. And let's see. Now I can only move my skirmishers 2, correct?
The rest of those guys can only move 2 movement points, yes.
Right.
Fortunately, they can ignore most terrain. So at least 2 movement points, gets you somewhere. Clear terrain is a half, for example.
All right. I'm going to actually try and take these into back into their parent.
Okay.
So
I don't see any reason why that's not okay.
39. So you're saying I can do it to there?
That's how I'm reading it. Yeah.
Okay.
You couldn't do that if there were enemies nearby and it was an enemy zone of control or something, but
right. And then I have 2 movement points. So let's go 1, 2.
First of all, what formation did you just put yourself in?
Yeah. It's all right. So let's go here. That's a 1.
Yeah.
Actually, let's see. Do I want to go this way? Yeah, let's go this way. 1, 2.
But if he's in column, that's only 1. It's only a half a movement point per hex in column.
And going all right, and there's no additional of these. These are all
the grades.
Those are all the
it
easy
says
ones,
it
right?
doesn't add anything extra.
If you're in column, it doesn't. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So you could move forward another 2 hexes if you felt so inclined.
Yeah, why not? All right. This one here, I'm gonna take those back into column 2.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. And they fine. And so boom. Let's do them there. And
Hanoverans?
So the Jaeger.
It doesn't really say. It just calls them Jaegers, but it doesn't specify. At least I don't think it does.
All right. 1, 2. All right. Next. All right. Next, we're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there anything in column? Okay.
Oh yeah. So if he's unlimbered, and all of that terrain was like open terrain, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's done. But he could all be in one hex. If you wanted to put him into road columns so he could move faster, then he'd actually spread into 2 hexes, just like an infantry unit would. And then he could take
Right.
advantage of the road movement rate.
But each one of them, there's 2 of them there.
Oh, there's 2 4-4s?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wow. In that case, no, it's even worse than that because you'd be spreading out over
Yeah.
4 hexes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Or you could just leave them like they are, in which case they're okay too. They just can't move very fast.
yeah. So
On the other hand, it's not like your infantry's moving all that fast either.
yeah. Column this slope here. Is that
That one is a regular
down.
slope, which gonna cost you a half moving up or down. No, excuse me. Yes, in column it'll cost you a half. In road in line it'll cost you 1. So it cost him a half to go across that.
right? So it costs them 1 to go to there, right?
That's right, exactly.
1.
And then the stream doesn't cost anything from the looks of it.
Correct.
And these are what?
That's
Going
another
up?
one just like it,
Yeah,
so it's going to cost you another.
Yeah, going up is
So it's 1,
half.
1.5, 2.5,
That's right. Yep.
3,
Yep.
4,
Well, that'd be 3.5.
3.5. Oh, I can actually go to there.
Yes.
All right. Boy, that artillery's gonna be in the way here. All right. This one here is if he goes into road column, does it matter what direction he's going? Is it the same cost?
No. I mean, he'd need to turn whichever direction that he's intending to go into column.
All right, so he has to be turned that way to go into it. So
Yeah.
So does it cost 1 movement point per hex side that you're rotating, or?
Yep.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Well, depends. Yeah. And if you're changing formation, there's other.
Oh no, you're changing formation very much different.
Right. I saw the charts.
American infantry, it's going to cost me 2 rather than 1. Because it's still 1777 here, right?
Right.
Von Steuben hasn't drilled us properly.
Yep.
So it cost me 2 to change facing. Cost me 3 if I make 2 facing changes, but it just cost you guys 1 per facing change.
All right, so okay, I'm gonna go up here to this guy here. That's 1, 2, and he's gonna go into road column for 2 more.
Okay.
All right. Column in woods is what? 1? I don't have the chart out handy, unfortunately.
Woods
yeah, it
is
is.
one
It is.
for
It is
Marconi,
1.
yeah.
That's right.
1, 2, and he's going into road column for 3, 4. All right. This guy back here, he's gonna go, whoops. 1, 2.
It looks like since he's already spent 2, it looks like all he can do is go into road column where he is. He can't
There,
can't
yeah.
move forward to fill in the road, and he can't rapid march. So I think that's all he can do.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's follow. Oops. Oh, what did I do? Did I just I just duplicated everything in there.
Looks
Okay.
like it, yeah.
And you put people out of command. Yeah.
Oh no, what a shame.
Well, one of these fellas was over here, right? This guy,
But
Oh,
right? Somehow he got moved.
I
The
think he
magic, the
selected something he
magic of
didn't mean to.
Vassal.
Yep, absolutely.
all right. So let's see what we got here. So this guy is here, and he's in row column. Boom. I think we're all back to what we need to be.
Right. Use
All
the
right.
road column marker there, I guess.
Right. So I can go C here. And let's see, clone that. He's going to go under there. Oh. And this guy. All right. So actually, I didn't. All right. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then finally, I can get to the actual one I activated.
Let's not get carried away here.
Half,
Half, 1.5, 2.5, 3, and you run into the bloody artillery.
yeah.
That's 1, 2. That's 1, 2.
Actually, I can actually, let's see, I can go to there, can I? Because there's lots of stacking.
Lots of stacking.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And actually the one, okay, let's stop back there. Okay, so that was 1. So I can actually come on top of him, right? Turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you're not in road column, you're fine.
Yeah.
You can stack
Like
quite a lot
64
actually.
like
Yeah,
60.
yeah, some completely ridiculous number.
And okay, and this guy was pointed this way. 1.5, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. Yeah, I can.
Yeah,
Back
you
in
can stack
too.
them there too. And
3.5, 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
And where are my A10 warthogs when I need them?
Yep. And there's that.
And then do you need to move Hal, or did he activate?
Not yet, because I still have one other unit to activate, and
The
I don't want
reinforcements.
to. If I move him now, I lose his bonus.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, his command rating gets affected the minute he moves.
Oh, okay.
So you tend to move the army leader as late in the turn as you can.
Right. Okay, and I need an extension behind here, don't I? I thought I did that. What did?
An extension behind whom? Oh,
Or
behind those knuckleheads?
do I? Oh, I got
It's
it there.
under
Never
Hal.
mind. It's under Hal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact,
Right.
there's two of them under how.
Yeah.
You're
We got plenty of extension.
Twice as extended.
So.
All right. Well, that was a lot of movement. And actually, the funny part is as big as that target looks, where you got 20 increments in one hex, it's only a +5 target size. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, really. It's like, yeah, it's.
But when you think about
tiny
it,
bit
it's not
a benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it's the equivalent of 10 increments in the regular
Right.
7 Years War games, in which case it's like, so what? That's like a slightly large unit, big deal.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Was that it?
That was it.
Okay.
All right.
You roll the dice, Michael.
Me?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, big numbers.
Big numbers.
That advances the turn track and gives y'all an activation
All
to
right.
use as you see.
Yeah. Go ahead, Eric.
All right. I'm gonna go wild. So I've got this fella here that's there by here. Now he's not near. He's not within command range of Kniphausen. Does that matter?
It really only does in the sense that he has to. Well, first of all, he rolls to attempt to put himself in command. He's basically going to roll against his own command rating. If you look on the back there, you'll see he's got a lousy command rating of 2.
Okay.
Which means there's only a 30% chance of him being able to put himself in command. But remember, the restrictions against a leader are not that bad. He's limited to just not being able to rapid march. The big problem is these chowderheads back up here, because they're not in his command radius at all. They can only move half their movement.
These guys.
Because, yeah,
Right.
Exactly. So that kind of illustrates nicely right there the difference between a leader being out of command, no big deal, I just can't move my full speed. All right, I can't rapid march,
Right.
big deal. But this poor unit all by himself is really slowed.
Right. Okay. So
Enough so that, honestly, you could say to yourself, all right, I'll move him forward and then I'll move myself, move the leader back over there so he is in command the next turn, or whatever you choose
Right.
to do.
Okay. Well, or I just don't care about him coming up all that fast anyway.
Yeah, maybe he just takes a long time to come up. The one thing that it's kind of a weird aspect of the system is that, yes, you can move really fast in column, but
Right.
oh yes, you find you're constantly having to turn
Right.
to adjust to the hex grid, and there's no sympathy in this system. You have to conform to the hex grid. So, you can kind of move fast, but it's not as fast as you think by the time you work in, well, I got to do this, I
Right.
got to do
So
that.
if this guy that's out of command, if he's going to
move 2.
he can move 2
Yep.
movement points. So
That's
that
right.
would be half.
I think, yeah, that's
1,
right.
And then going
I
up
think
the
if he moves
slope is
straight
nothing.
forward, I think that's gonna. Well, that's a double though. That's a regular slope because there's 2 contour lines there.
Oh, right.
So it actually cost him 1,
to go
and
there.
now he's spent his 2.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. All right,
All
and
right.
then these other chaps, so for this guy here, if he's going to go, it's not really. There doesn't look like there's any slope here, right? So there,
Sorry, which one
that's
are you?
half. Right.
Yeah,
this guy
that's
down
half.
here.
Yeah, because that's not enough. That's a gentle slope, so
Right.
it doesn't mean anything.
So that's half, and then if he's going to
Mhm.
turn, that's
That's
1.
now 1.5.
Right, and then if he
That's-
goes here, that's going to be 2.5.
2.5. That's right. Yep.
Okay, but
And then-
but it says oh yeah, regular slope going down. Okay, and so
Right.
then that's going to be 3.
That's right. He's at 3.
Okay.
And then what does the marsh do?
Well, he's going to turn,
Oh.
right?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, he
4,
could turn. Absolutely. Yeah.
right?
Yep. All right. 4. Yep. Yep.
Okay. And so
He's
then this
he's done.
chap's going to go half, 1, and he'll turn 2.
Yep. So it's 2, right?
And then he'll just go right there. That's going to be 3.
3.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll just have them all just follow along
All right.
in some semblance, right? And so then this guy here, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And he's still within range of the commander, right? 1, 2, 3 hexes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he is.
All
Yep.
right. I think I did that right. Yay!
I think you did. I think you did. And then the wives of the men from the 4th foot will, send you flowers for keeping their boys out of harm's way.
There we go. Well, they're definitely out of harm's way at this stage in the game. Okay.
and not likely to get there anytime real soon. Okay, very good. Well, it's bound to be your turn to chuck some dice.
All right, here we go. Throw the dice. Another 55.
All right, that is another British activation with no move of the end turn marker.
Okay. Well, since we're down here at this part of the universe, I can at least play around a little bit with my guys. So
it doesn't look like there's any reason to rush.
Yeah. So
for all that there's some reinforcements going on, but who cares? Plenty of time.
Right. So these
all right.
Right. So that's this must be
that's
stims.
Is it
or sim?
Is it Stern?
No, stim.
Is it Stim? Really? What a horrible name.
Yeah. Well, he's
Stim.
German. He's German. What do you expect?
It's a sexy name in Hesse.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. And so first things first, again, with the first thing we'd do is we'd establish, what are the units in the formation and who's in command and who isn't. And to be clear, I expect everybody is, but that's not the point right now. It's just kind of an exercise. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm guessing that's basically all of these hexes are the units that are in his.
Yep.
Good. Perfect. All right. They're all within 4 hexes.
So it's basically here,
okay.
here,
just there. Okay.
Here, and there. Yeah.
Very good. So that's easy. They're all in command. If you had disorder to recover from, you disorder recovery now. Leaders automatically cause disorder to be recovered. Otherwise, units just roll. Then you do fire combat, and then you move. And it looked like you're gonna move those guns. Yeah.
So there's 1, and then I guess 2. The regimental guns are those. Oh, actually, their movement is slightly different, but it doesn't matter. 3. And we'll just those guys
my apologies.
Right, because field guns and regimental guns
because those are regimental guns, and regimental guns are not no. Okay, so I apologize. Actually, he's at 2 movement points now.
Yeah.
1 to turn, and then half for each of the 2 hexes. So he's at 2 total now.
Yeah. So he'll just go right there. And then this chap here is just going to go 1. And then he's going to turn 2.
Actually, that's a half and 1 now. So it's now 1.5.
Right. And
2.
then he's going to turn this way.
Now 3. Okay. Right. Yep. That's good.
Go 1, 2, 3. So half.
Right.
Half.
Yeah, so he's at 1.5 when he's there.
Right, and we'll just turn him there.
And 2.5, and he's there. Yep.
All right, and then finally this guy is going to go half, and then turn 1, and then I got it. I guess turn him right. There we go, and that's 2, 3. Not three. Why do I keep counting it? Because I'm used to
You
doing it
do,
that way.
don't you?
Why didn't they just have the movement value be 8? Wouldn't that have been nice instead of everything being worth half?
Don't, you know, you were very nice and gracious as I bitched about Labatai, so I will try to be gracious while you bitch about this.
There you go. And then from stacking purposes, right? I could move this gun down here, couldn't I? And it could turn, couldn't it?
Um, okay, that actually gets a lot more complicated.
Oh, of course it does. Okay.
So let me explain.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I take it back because you're in column.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having limbered artillery with you when you're in column.
Okay.
You're in column, so this is actually perfectly okay.
Okay.
So yeah, in that case, we'd say, yeah, there's 11 infantry. The regimental guns don't count because they're stacked with the infantry. And even if I multiplied the 4 by 4 and made it 16, that's only 27. That's nowhere close to the 64 limit in a hex that's clear terrain.
Okay.
So
Cool.
So yeah, I think you're good to go. Flip the leader over just to indicate that he's activated.
Okay. All right.
Well done. Well done. All right. David, it's bound to be your turn to chuck dice.
Okay.
Now that is a
It's
tie.
And it moves the.
And it moves the end turn marker one more because the sum was above 10. So that really was just nothing. Kissing your sister, as it were. So why don't you go ahead and try again?
Duke, where is the game turn marker?
Didn't
There
you already?
it is.
Did somebody already put
I've already moved it. Yeah, I've advanced it to 3 now.
Yep. I just wanted to. I didn't have the chart up, so I wasn't.
Okay,
I
sure.
was trying to keep track of where we were at it
You
there.
betcha.
Where's the dice? Bam. All right. And you get another wing activation.
Woo!
And we move it
And
another
another end turn marker advance. We're rapidly swinging to the end here. Interesting stuff, boys. These British boys think they can come push us around. Figure out what do I hardly know how to act now that I have an activation. Goodness.
Well, since you can't move anything, or can
Oh
you?
no, I do have one. I do have one unit that can move. That's
one single unit.
Yeah, well, one command,
Right.
one formation, if you will. It is the 3rd Virginia up here on Meeting House Road. And I'm kind of pondering, what do I want to do with them? One, two, three. I think I will go ahead and activate the 3rd Virginia. That's these knuckleheads up here. This is the commander himself, Woodford, who's next in line of command above him is why am I not finding him? There he is Stephen, who is
right next to him.
right.
Isn't that Stephen?
Well, that's what I was just. Yes, that's Stephen right there. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And then they're all part of Sullivan's detachment. Sullivan himself is right here. So everybody's in command. All good. All fun and games here. Just trying to figure out if I feel like moving these guys or if I want to wait for things to develop a little further.
Well, they're out of range.
Oh, those knuckleheads?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not worried about them.
Oh, okay. Well, that
Um,
was the one you said isn't that the one that can move?
oh, you're right. You're right. That is the one that actually is able to move, but is out of command. So he'd be limited to half of his normal movement. On the other hand, he's in a perfect place. He's in a walled cemetery. What could be better?
I got the graves all dug ready for him.
It's what I'm saying.
Oh, there you go.
That's not a grave.
Foreshadowing.
That's a foxhole. Yeah, whatever you say, boss. Whatever you say.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because on the one hand, I can imagine you just following the road and coming on up, in which case it'd be good if I shifted over. But on the other hand, if I shift over too far, then you just decide to go cross country. So I'm just trying to decide, does it make any sense for me to move my rather cumbersome boys, because they can only move, excuse me, they only change facing at 2 movement points per the each. Makes it a little bit awkward to try to get them into the place where they need to be.
So it costs them 2 movement points just to turn one hex side?
Just exactly. They're badly
Wow.
drilled.
Wow.
Remember, von Steuben and Valley Forge is this upcoming winter.
Right.
So they're still all not terribly good at rearranging
maneuvering.
themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I'm just sitting here thinking. Now I guess I should look here. Yes, and in fact, it even changing formations costs me more in most directions than it does for you. If you look on the Brandywine formation change diagrams, you'll see that there's a red price
Right. Yeah.
for the
I saw
British
that.
and a blue price for the Americans, and in many cases they're different.
And also keep in
always-
mind, depending on whether you're turning left or right, it'll cost you more or less.
Right.
And it can be definitely come into play.
One of the things that got discarded between this time period and the Napoleonic era was the idea of the senior regiment being on the right.
The senior regiment or the senior company?
So, I'm sorry, senior company, excuse me,
Okay.
being on the right, which is why the it's asymmetric.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas by the Napoleonic era, they'd mostly dispensed with a lot of that foolishness, and they were more willing to move more flexibly. Which is also why about face costs you your entire movement.
Yeah, because you
Because
suddenly
you've
have to
literally
get
got
the
a
guy
counter march.
who's on that side's got to go
Yep.
over on the other side.
Yeah, you
That's
got to
actually
counter
the
march
odd
all
ones.
the way around the hex. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't think I'm ready to move yet. I don't think I know enough yet to know if moving makes any sense. Is it really true? Am I really going to do that? I'm in line right now. Moving to my right is cheap. Yeah, screw it, I'll move. Why not? All right, so putting this guy in road column, excuse me, not road column, excuse me. Putting him unlimbered costs 2 movement points. When he becomes unlimbered,
You mean when he becomes limbered?
limbered, sorry, yes. You know what? I've never been very good about.
You did that before too, and I was
I've
wondering.
always done that since the being a kid and reading about this stuff in history books. I was always like limbered and unlimbered. I could never figure out which was which, and I always get them backwards. It's kind of like the closed door and open door elevator buttons. 99 times out of 100, I hit the one I don't mean to hit. Okay.
All right, so you limbered your guns, and that costs
So
2 points.
Cost 2, and I'm trying to remember when I limber guns, I can actually face them in any direction I want. So obviously, I keep hitting a button I don't mean to hit.
It's because the C and the X on the keyboard are so close
You are
together.
correct, sir.
You
All
are.
right,
It's
so
not
that
the
was
first
two.
first time I've
That's
seen that.
3, and that's 4. Yes, you're quite right. Absolutely. Okay. Um,
He's able to move this turn?
yeah, he's part of the 3rd Virginia.
Okay, third
This,
Virginia is the one that's
this, yeah, that's basically this command here are all activated, and they're the one that's able to move. So, this unit can go into road column at a cost of 1 just because I happen to be going, not road column, march column. That costs 1. And that would cost 2 to move up here with him. Yes, that's right.
Cool.
All right. And then if I did that with all these guys, that's 1, that's 2, and that's 1, that's 2, and I will go ahead and put commander here and flip him over, and that'll be it. So that was that for my activation. I guess strictly speaking, I could activate a wing, but I don't really know. Let's see. Was he part of a wing with anybody? Yeah, the 4th Virginia. So I guess actually I could have activated Stephen himself, this guy right here. But of course, these guys can't move. And in fact, not only are they not moving, but they're not even going to change facing because why bother? So basically, they're done too.
Okay. Pretty cool. I'm just kind of curious with the looking at this battery that's here. There's these woods that are here. Are you able to shoot over those woods, or do they block the line of sight? I'm a little
actually,
confused.
it's a really interesting point, and the truth is that the fire chart makes it such that firing at more than 3, 4, 5 hexes. Well, no, that's not fair. You get times 5 out to 6 hex range here, don't you? Oftentimes it doesn't much matter.
Okay.
But I would agree with you that there is a question that I'm not immediately prepared to answer because clearly they're at quite a bit more elevation.
Yeah.
So I don't know at what point the line of sight becomes uninterrupted again. Because it's pretty clear that they're high enough to be over these trees. They maybe could hit somebody here, probably not somebody there.
Right.
But I don't know the honest answer. I'm really not sure.
Okay.
I don't know how tall the trees are
Yeah, exactly.
purported to be. Well, and what do we got? So that is it 25-foot elevation between contour lines? It looks like it is.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not sure what the rules
So
said about.
these are at 275, right? And you are at
350.
Right. So there's only a difference of what, 75 feet?
Only a difference of 75 feet?
Right. If you're at 2, oh.
Do you live in a redwood forest, sir? 75-foot tree is pretty damn big.
Yeah. Hey, I'm in California. This is
where
I
know. Yeah, but not a lot of redwoods where you live, pal.
Right, but remember, it's a direct fire. So,
no, of course. And if you can't see them, you can't shoot at them. I mean, and I don't know. The truth is, it rarely matters. And yes, do I think that's an odd location? Yeah, kinda. To set up a battery because it seems like somebody could get within 2 hexes of you. On the other hand, within 2 hexes and having to climb uphill, that probably wouldn't be a lot of fun.
Right. Okay.
Because it would be Canister City for 200 yards.
Canister City. I've been there.
Have you? Yeah.
I think at Alau. It
I
was
bet you have.
Canister City at Alau.
Canister City. I will double check what I can find about the line of sight rules, because I honestly don't pay much attention to them, because in most of the battlefields, well, like think about Chatuzits.
Yeah. Oh, it was just
Well,
it was a bowling green, for goodness sake.
yeah, there's no terrain. There's
Yeah.
hardly any elevation difference. There's like an incredibly tiny little mound or two on the field
Yeah.
that would block LOS, but it's like in practice, who cares?
Yeah. No, I'm just kind of
Oh,
curious about the setup of that piece. I'm just like, that's kind of weird
right.
because it doesn't look like
Well,
it's got a really limited field of fire kind of a thing.
I would agree. The truth is, since I had to set him up there and I had to set him up as unlimbered,
Right.
it kind of and to be honest with you, I guess I had to set him facing north or northwest. So I
Right.
guess I could have faced him down out towards those orchards,
Right.
maybe. But honestly, where would you be facing? I'd be
No.
facing at those damn trees, because
Yeah.
that's where the enemy's going to come from,
Yeah.
not out in the open.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Cool.
good question, but I don't know the answer. We'll know by next week.
Indeed.
Yeah, they do have some line of sight rules too.
They do. I kind of ignored them because I usually do.
Um, well, I'm going to adjust one unit up here at the top here. There's one that was in road column, didn't have a thing, so I'm moving this one of the Hessians back one, and I'm putting the road column marker there on it. So
Okay.
or the extension.
Oh, so he was in road column, and there's the extension for him.
Right, but
Okay.
we had the other, he didn't have his extension on there.
Okay.
So, all right.
Okay. Good. Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, I guess I'm done with my activations up there up north. So
Okay.
we are back to chuck and dice.
All
I don't know.
right.
Maybe it's my turn. Maybe I'll just chuck dice.
Yeah, go ahead, check one.
Ooh, that
That's a
end turn
tie,
marker is
so
coming up
move it.
fast, and that's another
Yeah.
tie. Let's see if we can keep those British reinforcements from coming on this turn. Except they're in road column, so they can come on anyway. All right. Okay, that's another end turn marker and advance, and it's an activation for me.
There you go.
What a deal. All right. Nine. That's a long way away, 9. But I think I'm going to shoot because I can. Okay. So I had a special thing that I was allowed to do here, that these guns here covering the ford
Yep.
were in this entrenchment, and I was allowed to move one of the units from the rest of the formation, which is all down here.
Yeah.
I was allowed to put one of the infantry units up there to cover the guns.
Sure.
So I will activate this, which is Hartley.
Hartley. Sure.
Hartley, yeah, part of Wayne's wing, and of course they're wildly out of command, but who cares? They're not moving anywhere. In fact, nobody's moving because they can't, so they're going to sit there, and I'm going to shoot these guns because I can,
Okay.
and because we shake our fists at you. It's 9 hexes to that target right there.
Okay.
9 hexes, and by the way, I also appreciate this is almost a complete waste of time, but it's just entertainment for the audience at home. And that is there are 4 increments of guns there.
Right.
Because they're at 9 hex range, they fire with a ×2 multiplier, so that's a total of 8 attack strength points.
Okay.
Fire points, I guess another way of saying it. Because we are doubling the defensive values of everything, being in the open, which you are, I believe you are, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Fire defense is.
Yeah,
gonna
I
be
don't think that's
20.
enough trees to count. So 8 to 20 is 1 to 3.
Okay.
And you're going to see this a lot in this game system. 1 to 3 is almost a complete waste of time. But
Okay.
sometimes people feel like doing it anyway.
Okay.
Because basically you need to roll 100 or higher, which practically speaking means that you need a special result to cause something good to happen.
So, and 100 is two zeros?
No, because 2 zeros is actually 0.
Oh.
So you'd actually need a special result that allows you to, like,
So you'd need a
re-roll.
99 plus something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's one special result that shifts the column one to the right. And that may be the only one. Is there another one that I'm missing? I don't know. I think basically what I'm doing is I'm doing this on a 1% chance. It's a complete waste of time. I'm just doing it for laughs.
Okay.
So we're gonna fire. Ready? Boom.
Sure.
Oh, darn it! I didn't roll a special result.
So a special result needed to have a 0 somewhere in it?
No, it needed to have a 0 in the first digit.
Ah, okay.
And the one that was of value to me would have been a 0-1. That's the special result called accurate fire. And that would shift the odds column one to the right, and then I would re-roll on that odds column, which would still be, ridiculous, because then I'd still need to roll a 90 or higher. I mean, it was dumb. I'm doing it just because I can, and I don't track ammunition, so I don't care.
Okay. Are we tracking? Is anyone tracking ammunition?
No, we're not tracking
Okay,
ammunition.
thank
Special
goodness.
results take care of ammunition for us, by the way.
Okay.
There are special results that are like ammo low, ammo exhausted,
Something blows up.
that deal with that. But nobody else can move, and that was the only thing I could do. So that's
Okay.
what I did.
I will.
So that was it
I'll
for
roll
me.
the dice. Here we go.
Now, what we are,
I'm going to take this activation.
Yeah, please do.
well, actually, okay, maybe it doesn't matter. They can enter in road column, in which case they could come on anyway.
Oh, that's right. This goes to, I forgot, this is already end turn now. And
It is end turn now.
there's only one unit that can be in road column, and it's the artillery.
What?
The only one that's in road column is the artillery.
Of your reinforcements?
Yep.
Oh, you're kidding. They actually specify what formation they have to be in?
It specifies specifically that one can be in road column. The other is in the, I believe, the other ones specify hexes.
British 3rd Brigade arrives on the map in the 420 and the entry hexes specified below. I see. They enter in the formation specified in 73AH, which would mean in line or march column. Actually, I don't think H is where that was, actually. That's funny. No, it's I. They have to set up in line, hook, or march column.
Right.
Okay,
So,
but you're saying that's. But
Yeah,
you're
the
saying
only
that
one, the artillery is the only one that can move.
artillery may enter in road column. Oh, fascinating.
Yeah.
So actually, it really did screw you over.
Yeah, it screwed me over. You
Okay.
rolled too
How is
high,
that?
Eric.
I don't
You rolled
understand
too high.
how is that a problem? I
So
mean, won't they just
when-
come on next turn, right?
Yes,
Oh, but I didn't want them back there next. I wanted them up here.
exactly.
I mean,
It
but they couldn't get there anyway, right? Because you've got other stuff
Yeah.
in the way. I mean, could they?
All right. These come,
Okay.
and
yeah, because if they wouldn't have been on the road, they would have been able to do march column and march,
Yep.
up to about where those folks are. So yeah, they
Yep.
could have moved along pretty well.
Oh, okay. Well,
But because we're in the end turn, only road column units on roads can march. So basically, the artillery can move, but everybody
Yep.
else is stuck where they are.
and is it 2 or 4 units of artillery in a road hex?
In road column, it's 2 strength points per hex in the Revolution series. So you'd need to spread into 2 hexes, I guess, for...
Well, why is that? It's saying it's the stacking is 16.
But road column specifically, you spread out incredibly in road column.
Okay.
Because, I mean, literally, if you're in road column, you
Right,
are
yeah, you're just
what,
stretched out along the road. But I
4
just
files
didn't, I
wide,
just didn't
maybe, right?
see.
That's
Yeah, I just didn't see
2.1
anything on
speed,
the.
3 strength points of artillery per hex of road column. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's not specified on the terrain effects chart,
Ah, okay.
but there's a standard game rule that's been modified for the Revolution because of all the
Right.
increments being of half the size. So it in the special rules of this scenario, it says near the beginning that road column is 2 strength points rather than 1 of artillery per road per hex,
Right.
and it's it's 8 strength points of infantry rather than 4.
Okay.
Yeah,
And so
I
then
remember
anything that's in road that hasn't already moved could move during this phase. The end of the
well,
turn phase.
what effectively happens is we roll um to activate every formation, which means we may actually do a lot of initiative rolling that nothing ends up happening, because we might activate a formation that isn't allowed to move and which can't fire and doesn't need to do disorder recovery and effectively does nothing. But we actually go through the process, and it'll make more sense as we get deeper into the game, because we can accidentally, well, first of all, there may be a command that's not allowed to move but needs to do disorder recovery. So we have to get to them.
Right.
And the game system also is expecting for special events to come up, initiative special events.
Right.
And they could keep coming up, because eventually we're going to roll a 0 something or a something 0
Right.
for an initiative roll. And then that can sometimes allow things to happen that are unusual, that are worth being aware of. So that's effectively what we do between now and the end of this first turn.
Okay.
So have you done what you could do with those guys?
because it tells where they come on at, and so they're sitting there,
Right. Okay. And then the
and-
artillery is moved.
and the artillery's moved.
All right. And it looks like you moved Hal because you don't care anymore about.
Yep. And I moved Cornwall.
Okay.
Yeah. I moved
Okay.
Cornwallis also.
I think then at that point we just bang our way through the rest of the formations. And if memory serves, I think what happens to your command rating? Does it reduce by 2, or is it halved when you move?
You're asking me.
I'm just trying to remember. My initiative determination. Because I'm immediately on the correct page. That's the joy of these rules. I know exactly. Reduced by 2 if he's moved earlier in this game turn. Perfect. So now I have a +1 to you instead of you having a +1 to me. So what the heck? I roll. And now I get an activation. Woo! Except, of course, Okay, everybody up north is activated. I'll go ahead and activate the North Carolina Brigade here. They have literally nothing to do. They're not going to change direction or facing or anything. So that's that. So does somebody else want to chuck a die?
Sure. Well,
Oh,
You-
very, very impressive rolls. Very nice. That's
You
another
get
one
a-
for me.
another one for you.
Now, to be clear, Eric, this is something that's not obvious, but when you win initiative, you don't have to activate one of your formations. By winning initiative, you can say, no, I want you, opponent, to activate a formation. It may
Right.
be, for whatever reason, in your interest to make the other guy move.
Right. See
And
what he's going to do. Right. Yeah.
exactly. So just understand that although usually people um, take the activation, you're not required to. So I'm going to go ahead and take that one, and I will do what's his name, Humpton. What a lovely name, Humpton. He's down here, and they're just going to stay where they are. So Eric, it's time for you to roll one.
Okay.
Oh, very nice.
That's another
I
one for
guess,
you, I guess, right?
guess that means I get another one. So I guess I will. Let's see, who's this back here? This is Muhlenberg.
He sounds like one of
Sounds
my
like you got to be
guys.
one of your guys. Yeah, absolutely. What the heck? All right, I'll roll one. That's a tie. That's another one for me. Who's next up here? There's
So so say for example you could move, what, because we're in the end phase, are you limited in what you can move, or you can only move if you're in road column? I mean, I don't quite understand why we're bothering to do this if no one can do anything.
The only reason we would bother to do this ordinarily is because once we actually get engaged in battle, you might have perfectly good reasons to shoot.
Oh, okay.
Even though you haven't been activated, you're perfectly welcome to shoot. You might be doing disorder recovery.
Oh,
even if you
so
can't
you
move.
only shoot when you activate your guy.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. I thought we had like a fire.
So,
okay.
right now, it seems really silly because these are units that genuinely can't do anything, that activating them is meaningless.
Right. Other than if we get a special result, that's the other thing that can.
That's the only other way that sometimes this end turn space actually some interesting stuff happens. For example, one that happens sometimes that's actually very handy is you've got a unit and it's in the end turn time, and whoops, special rally. So you get to do a disorder recovery and rally phase for that formation.
Okay.
Well, that's great. If they've been shot up and they're shaken and you need to kind of get them battle ready again, they get an extra one over and above what they were going to get anyway.
Okay.
So that's kind of nice. Actually, I'm stunned. This is the longest I've ever been throwing dice without seeing a zero.
Yeah, we haven't gotten a special.
It's
knock on wood.
David's turn to throw the dice then.
Okay, well, let's see what you can do there, brother. All right, that's one for y'all.
All right, Eric. So you can activate one, which
got to be you, Eric.
Right, but he
he's
doesn't actually
activated
go
all
in.
his.
So if I activate
That's right.
Grant, all I do is just basically turn him over.
Basically,
but
yeah.
now you can move the officer
Oh, okay.
That's true.
So I can
That's
move
true.
the leader,
if you
but-
want to put it somewhere else where maybe he can get the like part of the
more
the first
advantageous. Yeah.
Okay.
he
But that
can-
actually is your only one you haven't activated, right?
Yeah, I think that's the only one that, because I've got Niephausen. I haven't done anything with
No,
him.
right. He's just your wing leader
Yeah.
guy.
Oh, right.
So, okay, that was exciting. I guess
Okay,
it's my
very
turn to roll
good.
the dice. It's another tie, right? If you
Yeah,
have a
that's a
plus
tie.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, your turn, Michael.
Okay. Well, I think I've only got one left. Because I'm just looking around. I'm still struggling a little bit with this whole order of battle here
Yeah,
because
yours is a little more complex than ours.
it is. So I think pretty much just this guy right here, Maxwell, who's in charge of this this group here, these light infantry, and he's just gonna flip over. And so that's it. We made it through the entire first 20 minutes without any special events of any kind. That was very odd. I don't expect that to happen again.
Right.
Okay. So once we've finished activation of all commands, which I think we have now done, Then we move to the rally phase, which would mean a lot more in other turns, but I'll point it out for what it's worth. The rally phase is when one side and then the other first attempts to rally any shaken units
Okay.
and then attempts to rally any routed units.
Okay.
Shaken units would just return to being, good morale. Rallied or routed units are actually at some risk. They could either come back to being shaken and disordered, so they're kind of a two-step path back to health,
Right.
or they could actually lose another increment and keep running, or they could just keep running. That's the rally phase. That's at the end of the turn. And then there's the maintenance phase, which is, is there a button for that? Doesn't look like there is. Looks like we're going
Yes, there is.
Oh, no,
It's
there
the
is. There's an end
turn
turn.
button.
Oh, I'm going to click the end turn button. Ready?
Oh,
Look
all
at
the leaders
that.
click back over. That's nice.
Like magic. Strictly speaking, and it'll be more important as we get more into contact, but independent units that are activated really should have a finished marker put on them.
Yep.
Because independent units have to activate with a formation,
Right.
but they're not going to have their commander flipped over because they don't have a commander. So
Right.
strictly speaking, we should have been putting finished markers on those, and they would also come off when we click the magic button.
Okay.
So I'm going to I see you've already advanced the turn track to 440 and the end turn marker up to 0. So we are set and ready to go. And after a very slow start, we've gotten through one turn.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. We had to talk about stuff.
I think it was an hour and 45 minutes before we actually got started. So actually, we did fine once we got going.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So, all right.
As I said, there's a good possibility. I don't know what the schedule is for Sunday next weekend, but there's a good possibility I may be busy. So
Okay.
All right.
Well,
then
do
just keep us
let us
posted.
know.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, just let us know. Let's see. I'm out of town a little this week, but then I'm back in town for the weekend. So, but if you're busy, you're busy. It's all right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're ready to play Lenny tomorrow, Dave?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Just be sure to flush everything you remember about bar rules and
I know. I go
context
through this
switch.
every weekend. I go through this.
Oh, well, and I've got yeah, it's well right now on Wednesdays I've got a fella that I met. He's Keith Powell. Lives down in Irvine. Met him at Conson.
Oh, right.
Yep. And so he's coming up, and we're playing Hassenhausen, and Jim Soto's driving in from L.A. And so we've been banging through that. It's basically the 2/3 of the Prussian army against Marshal Davout's Third Corps. So we've been having some interesting combat with that, and teaching Keith how to play La Bataille. So it's good.
Very good. Very good. Well, all right, sir.
Okay, guys.
I wish you
Then-
all a howdy doody week, and maybe we'll
And-
see you next weekend.
Yeah.
And then
hopefully.
you have also your thing on Eric on Thursday this week, right?
Oh yeah, on Thursday this week, Gary from Ardwolf's Lair is interviewing me. He's doing a like an unboxing kind of a thing with looking at I think the La Bataille Mont Saint Jean second edition. So he's having me on his live stream to talk about that. That's at 6 o'clock California time, which should be 8 Central and 9 out on the East Coast. So I'm looking forward to having a conversation with him and talking about La Bataille stuff. So that's
If you see somebody in there with a handle of Wargamer1, that'll be me.
okay. Well, very good. Try to say nice things. All right, guys. We'll see everybody hopefully then tomorrow night for Lenny, on Thursday at Ardwolf's Lair channel, and then next week here if everyone's schedule permits.
Very good. Sounds
Okay.
like a winner.
Be good.
Y'all take care.
You too.
All right.
All right,
Bye.
Michael. Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.